Your morning just got more interesting. Distilled and barrel-picked for your listening pleasure. Bo Bishop, a local sports media legend. What William T. Sherman was to the Union Army, he is to Northern College football. A husband, a father, and middling youth sports coach. He's friends with Central Ohio sporting royalty.
Talking to Ohio State Athletic Director Ross Bjorken. Coach Day walking on with us right now. Good to see you, buddy. Good buddy Austin Ward. My good buddy Tim May, the Tim May Show. The great Doug Lavery's joining us.
Hi, everybody. Dom Tiberi here.
Oh, Reese came in and he handed me papers.
Yeah,
and then he said, "You see that button? That's the only button you need to worry about. Don't touch. There's 8,000 buttons in front of me." Oh, I didn't know what he was talking about.
The one that says on.
We blew the budget on this imaging, and only 2 guys answered our ad on Craigslist. Brian Baker and Eric Reeser. Act accordingly. You're now listening to Bishop and Friends.
Bishop and Friends is sponsored by Diamond Seller, your true jeweler for over 75 years.
All right, let's do it live on a Reaction Monday edition of Bishop and Friends here, kids. Loaded up as we do it live. Ben Baby's going to join us on the Cincinnati side of things. Covers the Bengals for ESPN at 9:30. Austin joins at 10:30 as is customary. Weekend Blitz had a lot to blitz. We will get to that coming up at 11 o'clock. 11:30, Tyvis will join us as well. He was on the Cleveland Browns radio network for some of the draft coverage over the weekend, some of which you heard right here on The Fan. I do want to. We'll do the Shedeur stuff, and we'll make sense of that. We will. I believe we had that on Will Howard. We absolutely had that on Jack Sawyer going to the Steelers. Like that was, you could see that for 2 months happening, and indeed it did. But I did want to start with what the handsome update anchor there had. Did you guys watch any of this Lakers Wolves game yesterday?
When it was getting hairy late, I turned into it.
I did not. I will admit that I did not see any.
It was a. We were at lacrosse all weekend up at Cedar Point, and so we had gotten home just in time to watch the second half, and about halfway through the third quarter and all the way through the fourth. It was a Game 7 of the NBA Finals intensity. I've never seen it. This is a Game 4 in the first round. I mean, like clearly, like. Anthony Edwards, and you've certainly seen some of the back and forth with him and LeBron and some of the stuff that they allowed to go in the first half of it. And then the fact that J.J. Redick just played the 5 guys the entire second half. And Minnesota kept hunting Luka on the offensive end. I mean, it was pretty thrilling stuff for a first-round Game 4, which kind of tells you the idea of how badly the Lakers did not want to go down 3-1. But indeed they did, and it could maybe signal the end of LeBron at this level. He went scoreless in the fourth quarter, only the 3rd time in his career he's done that in the playoffs. He looked gassed, and you can't blame him. He's in year 22. I mean, how long is he supposed to do this at this type of level? But he just looked gassed a little bit. It looked like Minnesota's defensive plan worked to a T. So it was thrilling stuff, Reese.
Yeah, Anthony Edwards just running kind of circles around LeBron late. Yeah. I have no idea what J.J. Redick's thinking, having LeBron James play an entire second half of basketball in the playoffs. Like, I understand from
the importance of it, right? Like, they were like, these are our best 5.
We have to do this now.
I guess.
I understand.
Down 3-1.
Like, after the game, I understand that he said, well, we didn't plan on doing that. It's like, well, you've got to know that can't be how you do it if you want to. Look, I don't know if they have a prayer on Wednesday. No. They're just the legs aren't going to be there, and the Timberwolves are younger. They're more talented overall.
Yeah,
like, I understand you're desperate, but at what cost are you trying to do that yesterday? Like, first time since 1998 that had been done, and it's like, well, JJ, there's a reason why.
Yeah.
Like, there's a really good reason why nobody's played the same 5 in a second half of the playoffs.
When one of those dudes is in year 22, especially, right? I mean, but it was good stuff. So I wish it was later on in the NBA playoffs, because obviously it feels like Minnesota's going to win this thing in 6, and then that'll be the end of it. But it was good theater on a Sunday. Obviously, the theater of the weekend was the fall of Shadur Sanders. So how does this happen? This isn't scores. This is just common sense. Mel Kiper, Daniel Jeremiah, Dane Brugler, Bucky Brooks, a handful of other folks. Jeff Resden, who's on the station from time to time. There's upwards of a dozen people who do mock drafts. When you do a mock draft, most of those guys, what are they doing? They're watching film. They're grinding film. And then they're talking to, in the case of Dane, you're talking to people around the player, right? You're talking to people around the player. Some of these draft people who do these mock drafts talk to organizations, and we'll see what those organizations think about a certain player. But the majority of these people, the vast majority of these people, watch film. The film on Shadur Sanders was first-round film. That's what the film was. Here's the thing that those guys didn't know, though. What they didn't know, and which was abundantly clear based on the fact that this kid fell to the 5th round, is they did not know how Shedeur handled the interviews. They didn't know. So what happens in an interview? And I heard Mike Tannenbaum on Get Up this morning talking about this. What happens in an interview is you sit down and you talk to the player. And in some instances, and Tannenbaum talked about this on Get Up this morning on ESPN, they sent a 22-page packet of the Jets' offense to a quarterback. And when they got there, the quarterback very clearly hadn't looked at any of it. This isn't Shedeur. This is a quarterback from a previous draft that he mentioned. Hadn't looked at any of it.
TLDR, bro.
So they get there. They're on a private jet with Woody Johnson. Tannenbaum tells a story. They get back on the plane. They go, "I'm sorry, Woody. That was an entire waste of time. We just wasted everybody's time." So when you had Mel Kiper incredulous, when you had Daniel Jeremiah going, "What is going on?" When you had everybody who does a mock draft going, "What is going on?" Those guys look at film. They look at tape primarily to come up with their evaluations of players. Greg Cosell, all of them. They aren't getting to know the individual. They aren't. They're watching the film. Okay? And so the film is what they go off of. And his tape is first-round tape. It is. He's really accurate. He's on time. But what you don't know, and what none of them knew, and none of us knew, is how he did in the interviews. And I think you can draw the conclusion pretty straightforward that he was a mess in the pre-draft process. There's no other way to do it because the talent is first-round talent, right? Might not be number 2 overall in the draft talent, but it's first-round talent or it's second-round talent. So it had to be what happened in those interviews, and then some of just what it is being a celebrity 21-year-old in America now, and what comes with all of that. And do teams want that? And I thought Peter Schrager did a pretty good job of describing over the weekend. He said, look, if you're in these back rounds, anything past the first round, second round, what you want is a backup quarterback who supports the starter. That's the job. Support the starter, put them in a position to succeed, not take over a franchise, not set tone, not be a culture change. That's not what a 5th round pick. That's not what a 3rd round. That's not what Dylan Gabriel is. That's not what he is. They're backup quarterbacks. They're there to support the starter. That's the job. So then I'm sure probably what happened is he going to be supportive of the starter? So that's how you fall, because he's not Tyler Shuck or even Dylan Gabriel in terms of like what you're getting with Shedeur is a big package. Now the ceiling, the talent is high, but obviously in the pre-draft there were misses. And I know Shedeur addressed some of that and we'll have it for you in a bit. But that's how I think this happened. This is not pay attention to the scores. This is just some common sense. I thought about it a lot over the weekend. Like, how does something like this happen? How could we all be so wrong on all of this? And it's just the only answer to it is, and there's been some reporting, like the Dable reporting out of the Giants about the interactions he had with Dable. Dable didn't comment about it, but that Dable kind of pressed him on not knowing the verbiage and those things, and Shedeur didn't take it well. All of those things. So that's the only conclusion I can draw. Is that the tape was the tape, but at quarterback, there's an interview process. And unless you're Caleb Williams, who last year did not work out for anybody and only met with the Bears, that's it. That's all he did. Unless you're that, you're interviewing for a job. And obviously, the talent and the tape that you saw on film did not match up with the approach in the pre-quarterback evaluations because the whole league passed multiple times.
Yeah, it was, Friday where I think we all had come to a conclusion that the league told you what it felt of this draft class or for the quarterback position, to where everybody's going to be a project, even Cam Ward. Like the Titans were probably the only team that would have taken Ward, one of maybe a handful of teams. I don't know how many, but the Titans took Cam Ward number 1 because they love the upside. They love the potential of what he could be, but also that could be Shanahan. Like Shanahan's basically taken, or who's the Titans head coach?
Brian Callahan.
Brian Callahan, thank you.
Callahan,
So it's his second season. That's the guy he's hitching his wagon to. So that could be on his tombstone. Here lies Brian Callahan, took Cam Ward first overall. Mm-hmm. Everybody else was going to be a backup and a project. Now, that backup, to your point, how much headache or how much of a problem is that backup or is that project going to bring with him? Well, if we can get a quarterback that we think is comparable traits later on in the round, then we're going to skip on this quarterback that's live streaming the entire draft process.
Yeah.
Because we're just not interested in any of that.
I think all that checks out. I mean, that's the only conclusion you can draw, Vic.
I couldn't help but think, Bo, while this was all going on, something that you just touched on. And obviously, you know, the interviews had to be what they were, right? They had to be terrible for someone this talented to fall this far. But I kept thinking how much of it was this guy can't be a backup. Because you cannot have in the NFL, you cannot have your backup quarterback be a story. Because the first time your starting quarterback falters at all, everybody starts clamoring for that backup, and it's an issue, whether that backup is good or not. I always think of Tim Tebow, and there was no reason Tim Tebow couldn't have been in the league at least as a backup for a long time, but he would have always been the story.
Yeah.
And you can't have that on your team. Your starter's got to be your starter and the unquestioned guy, or you have an issue. And I couldn't help but think, Reese mentioned, there wasn't a lot of quarterbacks taken before Shedeur. I think he was the 5th quarterback taken in this draft, or the 6th.
Yeah, right.
One of the ways.
Somewhere in there.
But you take a Dylan Gabriel before a Shedeur in this draft, possibly because you think that guy could be a 10-year backup. You would take maybe, and it didn't happen, but you would take maybe a Will Howard over a Shedeur, because that guy will be a 10-year backup, and you'll never hear a peep from it. It'll never be a problem. And I couldn't help thinking about that while this was going on.
Yeah, and I think all of those factors led to what happened. Now, that being said, I really like what the Browns did. I'll explain why, among other things. We're off and running on a Monday edition, Bishop and Friends, right here on The Fan.
A lot has changed in 30 years, but we're still that old shoe that feels worn in and well-loved. And well, we smell a little, but you've accepted that. The Fan.
Feeling unsure about preparing your roof for spring storms? Newman Roofing is here for you. For over 30 years, we've helped homeowners understand their roof's condition so they can make the best decision for their home. Stop worrying and call 614-NEW-ROOF or visit newmanroofing.com today. Don't just get a new roof, get a Newman roof.
Hey, it's Leslie from Pella Columbus.
I'm Wilson from that other window place.
One of my favorite things, Wilson, is the look on people's faces when they see the end price for Pella windows.
Yeah, I'm always hearing, does it look like I'm wearing my money britches?
More like, I can't believe we get the Pella look and quality at these prices.
Oh, you went the other way with that. You're hearing good things. Oh, this is awkward.
Get the window that homeowners rated the leading window brand in Columbus at PellaColumbus.com.
I need a small order of sheet metal to repair something in the shop. It's not much, but can you help me out?
At Metal Supermarkets, no order is too small.
Wait, really?
Yep.
What about small home projects?
Yep.
For a car I'm working on?
Yep.
Any kind of metal?
Yep.
Cut to size?
Yep.
With no minimum order?
Yep.
How about 1,000 cut pieces of aluminum flat bar?
Yep. Choose from over 8,000 types, shapes, and grades of metal in any quantity you need. And yes, we're serious. Any metal, any size, ready fast. Locally owned on Wilson Road.
From the hardwood to the warehouse, performance matters. That's why Caster Connection, proudly based in Columbus and trusted nationwide, delivers industrial caster and wheel solutions to keep operations rolling smoothly. With an unrivaled online inventory and the best consultative experts in the industry, we'll help you find the right caster for any job. Shop now at casterconnection.com and save 10% on online orders with promo code ROLL10. Not a retail location.
I'm back to doing what I love and more. Thanks to the Good Feet store.
Don't let bad feet stop you from being active and getting healthy this year. Trade in your bad feet for good feet at the Good Feet store.
Do you realize making the minimum monthly payments on your credit cards, it'll take nearly 20 years to pay them off? What if I told you there's a way for you to get them all paid off in just a matter of weeks? Hey, it's Bobby Carpenter. Imagine wiping out all of your credit cards. Here's where you go. AFLcash.com. That's AFLcash.com. Advantage First Lending is the easy button for tapping in to hundreds of thousands of dollars in your home equity. That's not the bank money, it's your money. Listen, your home, the value is way up. And now AFLcash.com has a super fast, hassle-free program that lets you turn that equity into cash. People who do this are living their best life, their credit card debt free, with cash left over for other stuff like home improvements, maybe a vacation. See how much money you can get now. Go to AFLcash.com or call 844-394-CASH. That's 844-394-CASH. Say goodbye to greedy credit card companies. That's AFLcash.com.
Equal Housing Lender, NMLS 1209177. Subject to lender approval. NMLSConsumerAccess.org.
What's the best way to make sure you don't miss any of your favorite fan shows? Oh no. Download the Fan app, silly.
Ah, damn it, I knew that.
App Store, Google Play, or just scream right at your phone. Psst, you can also listen to Buckeye games. Do it now.
Does heel pain make you hobble just getting out of bed in the morning? If heel pain is affecting your ability to exercise and meet your walking or running goals, relief is as close as your local podiatrist. Podiatric physicians are highly trained doctors who specialize in medical and surgical treatment of the foot and ankle. Ohio Foot and Ankle podiatric physicians are available across the state and are devoted to providing the highest quality foot and ankle care. For more information or to find a member of the Ohio Foot and Ankle Medical Association near you, visit ohiofoot.org.
Hello, it's John Kozik, founder and president of TurboTrack Realty. Do you want to sell your property, however, you need a little help getting through the process? Let's say you have years of belongings in the home. It needs a lot of updating, you're overwhelmed, and you may need help finding a place to go. I will help you. Visit us today at TurboTrackRealty.com or call me now for an all-cash offer and, more importantly, the help you need at 614-470-2000, 614-470-2000.
Fan weather.
From the Logan AC and Heat Services Weather Center.
Fantastic start to the work week. Afternoon highs will be in the low 80s with plenty of sun, turning into mostly clear skies overnight and lows in the 60s. For Tuesday, we'll start off dry, but then chances of showers develop with strong to severe storms possible late afternoon to early evening. Breezy winds and afternoon highs in the low 80s. For the Fan, I'm meteorologist Meredith Garfolo with your 10 weather impact forecast.
An encyclopedic knowledge of sports and other random things you may or may not care about.
I think I found my mentor.
Rockman and Ice.
Weekdays from noon to 3.
The Fan. The uncle you never knew you had. The friends you kind of wish you didn't. This is Bishop and Friends.
I think if you went back to Wednesday and said that the Cleveland Browns are going to get Mason Graham, Shadur Sanders, Quinshon Judkins, Harold Fannin, Carson Schlesinger, I'm not sure how many people knew that, but I think once I'll connect some dots on why I think that happened in just a second. Dylan Gabriel, Dylan Sampson. If I was to tell you this is what you're going to get, and you're going to get a number one next year, my guess is, I mean, you guys are Browns fans. I'm guessing you would have taken that.
Yeah. Yeah, I'd have been okay with that.
I love that you said if we go back to before the draft, right?
Yep.
And this is what you ended up with. Yeah, I think I actually, for the most part, really like what the Browns did.
Yeah, I think so. Let's kind of go through these individually. I do think the Schlesinger pick at the top of the first round of the second round, the linebacker at UCLA, who is beloved by all draft analysts, but it's a linebacker, and you say, okay, a linebacker at the top of the second round, and to me, what that says is bad news on JOK.
Yep.
Oh yeah.
So that's not scores. That's just. That's common sense. So obviously there is big trepidation about Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah being able to play again. He hurt his neck in the middle of last season. The updates on him have been few and far between. Every time you hear from Andrew Berry, Kevin Stefanski on this, you haven't heard anything from JOK, but every time you hear from Stefanski and Berry, they're like, yeah, we'll see. We're still waiting on that. We're still in the process. Like, there's no clear-cut answer, so sometimes you just have to rely on actions. And taking a linebacker at the top of the second round for a franchise that typically drafts the big positional powerhouse needs first, defensive end, receiver, quarterback, the corner, those type of things, that's a bit of a surprise. So that's what I would read into that. I love the Judkins pick. Love it. I think he fits exactly what Kevin Stefanski wants to do. Offensively, I think the Harold Fannin Jr. pick makes a ton of sense. They're going to play a lot of two tight end. He was a stud at Bowling Green. He's a Northeast Ohio kid. He went to McKinley. So he knows what it's all about. And to me, that makes a lot of sense. I like the Dylan Sampson pick. I mean, he didn't play. He tried to play in the game against us, but was dinged and not there really hardly at all. But that's leading the SEC in rushing. I like the two swings at running back. Probably also tells you that Nick Chubb won't be back, right? Because all of a sudden that's a lot of players in that room. So that tells you a little bit maybe about that. The headliners will be the two quarterbacks. So let's start with Dylan Gabriel in the third round, because there's been a lot of questions about, well, why Gabriel in the third round? Would he have been available later? Maybe. This is my kind of understanding on the Gabriel pick. They liked Ward most and probably Gabriel second overall. Like, regardless of who was available, I think they obviously like Gabriel a lot. He fits very much into what Stefanski wants offensively, not necessarily from a size perspective. We'll get to that in a second, but rather just on how he operates. Dylan Gabriel, highly intelligent, balls out quick. It's really accurate. That fits into what Stefanski wants a quarterback to be. So I think that is it. Was it a reach? Maybe. Maybe it was. Maybe in some people's view it was. But I also think if he's the guy that you like second most behind Ward at the position, then you take guys you like. And we talked about this with both the Browns draft and the Bengals draft and the Steelers draft. Like, be firm on your convictions. Because it's your jobs on the line, right, in the end. So if your scouting says this, then trust it. Trust your process. And I think that's a little bit about Gabriel. Let's hear from Gabriel. Let's hear from Dylan. This was from Saturday. I think, Beck, let's go with the one, or Reese, let's go with the one where he talks about being the pressure and the challenge ahead of him.
Yeah, I'm built for it. You know, I've done this all my life. I've been playing quarterback from a young age and have stepped into, top-tier programs that demand success. So I'm built for this. I'm ready for it. It's the new challenge, and although there's unknown, and this may be a first time for me in terms of being in the NFL, I think just my ability to adapt in college and be around a team and different teams in that way allows you to be able to adapt quickly and know, naturally when you walk into a building, you got to be prepared. You got to earn daily influence from your teammates, and then that allows you to continue to challenge. So for me, pressure is a lot of fun. That's what you look forward to as a competitor, and you run towards it.
It's pretty interesting. Gabriel played for 3 teams. He started at UCF, then went to Oklahoma, then went to Oregon. Everywhere he went, he won and got better upon his arrival. So that's now I think there's a ceiling with the height. It's something he's played with that height his whole life, but you're an outlier when you're 5'11" and trying to play in the league. There aren't a lot of those guys, so it'll take some creativeness, and curious to see how he competes. Now, I think the natural thing is, okay, but then why take Shedeur? And to me, what Shedeur was about was first round talent, 5th round, let's take a swing at it. I think it's just a value pick more than anything else. And I think for a franchise that is trying to, and you heard from Andrew Berry talking about this, ownership talked about this at the league meetings, you're trying to find that answer at quarterback. And I've been a proponent of this for the last 2 months for the Browns in their process. Take 2 quarterbacks. Even when I thought they were taking one at 2 overall, take one at 2 overall, take one in the 4th round, take one in the 5th round. Like, draft one until you got one. And so they're going to have a loaded quarterback room in terms of numbers in it. I don't know how they're going to manage it. I think it'll be fascinating for Kevin Stefanski how he manages all of the quarterbacks that'll be in there. Shedeur was available this weekend as well. He weighed in on slipping to the 5th round and what that was all like.
I feel like talent is everywhere throughout the draft. It's about just being picked and who sees your value. That's pretty much it, because it's a lot of valuable players that go, in the rounds after the 1st and 2nd. So I'm a product of one of those, and I understand you can't really categorize, I'll say, my talent. I just got to prove and show what I'm capable of. But what fuels me is my purpose in life and understanding the route that's now that we're going to have to take, understanding that I was able to get an opportunity when a lot of people didn't want to give me an opportunity. So that's what I'm truly thankful for. So that's what fuels me.
All right, so your quarterback room will be Joe Flacco, Kenny Pickett, Dylan Gabriel, Shadur Sanders, and Deshaun Watson. Now, Watson's not going to play in 2025. I mean, they haven't said that, but obviously he retore his Achilles in December, so you don't come back from a second torn Achilles in under a year. So he will be around, though. We've seen him working out in the facility, so he's going to be around. And then they'll have Flacco, Pickett, Gabriel, Sanders. You guys are Browns fans. 2 swings at quarterback in one draft. Go ahead.
Yeah, I'm all right with that. I think that's the premier position in the league, and so you've got to get that figured out. I also don't know if I buy like how they love next year's quarterback class more so than this year's, because I don't know what the hell next year's quarterback class is going to be. But I think for this team, I think they maybe wondered what I did when Milroe goes. I think it was 2 picks before Dylan Gabriel, like, run on quarterbacks. And so they make the quarterback pick where they did with Gabriel to avoid, if they truly had him as their favorite quarterback, Dylan Gabriel, to avoid him getting swooped up, later in the 3rd or earlier in the 4th. But that's fine. And then the Shedeur thing, there's literally zero risk to it because you're going to pay him less. And if the name never ends up on the back of a quarterback jersey or the quarterback jersey for the Cleveland Browns, I think you've done your franchise a service there.
I mean, the Shedeur pick is straight value, right? There was one time you thought you were taking him at 2.
Sure.
And then you get him in the 5th round. I mean, that just seems like a no-brainer, right? I don't understand. If you want to tell me Dylan Gabriel is too small, too short to play in the NFL, okay, I'll hear that argument. If you want to tell me that Dylan Gabriel, you could have picked him in the 6th round, you didn't have to pick him in the 3rd round, okay, I'll hear that argument. But people forget this guy torched Ohio State that first time. And I don't think Tom Brady, if he was quarterback of Oregon in that Rose Bowl, would have made a difference in that game against that Ohio State team and their mentality and what they were playing for. The same people that are clamoring for Will Howard and think he's going to be great seem to forget that this guy was first-team quarterback not only in one conference ahead of Will Howard, but 2 conferences in front of Will Howard. He was Big Ten quarterback of the year and Big 12 quarterback of the year, both over Will Howard. This guy, to me, there's no reason he can't be at least Tua in the league, right? Because Tua's only an inch taller than him. They're both very accurate. I think Dylan gives you a little more with his legs. I don't see how this isn't a great upside pick.
Yeah, and I think what's going to be very interesting is how they manage, as a franchise, how they manage all of this. Because that's a lot going on in that room. Now, they're lucky they got Flacco in there, so I think they will lean on him a lot. Tommy Rees is the quarterback coach and offensive coordinator up there, so he's used to dealing with young quarterbacks, but that's a lot going on in that room, and how they manage that, I think, is going to be very, very interesting because it's a ton. It's a ton in there. But the value was kind of a no-brainer. The Bengals needed to hit on this draft as well. We will get some perspective on what the Cincinnati Bengals did from our good buddy Ben Baby in 2 minutes. Bishop and Friends right here on The Fan.
Prescription products require completion of an online consultation with an independent healthcare provider and are only available if prescribed. Subscription required. Additional restrictions apply. See website for more details and safety information.
Is Cialis Daily really better than Viagra?
If you like spontaneity, the answer is yes. So when the mood strikes, you're ready to go.
I felt like a young man again. My wife is definitely much happier.
When you take it, you're ready to go.
Does Cialis Daily last longer than Viagra?
Guys are raving that their results last even longer.
My partner thinks that I am a rock star.
Because it is effective, I say I'm on a second honeymoon.
It's literally life-changing.
Are 30-day sample packs available?
You can now access a 30-day sample pack at TryRexMD.com with generics if appropriate. Online approval at TryRexMD.com is simple, with medication delivered direct to your door. There's no copay, no doctor office visit, and your shipping is always free. Visit TryRexMD.com to get your sample pack. That's TryRexMD.com.
You had a solid retirement dream. Sell your home in a few years, bank the equity, downsize, and travel. But with an unpredictable economy and the future feeling uncertain, you're wondering if that equity will still be there when you're ready. What if you could bank that equity right now? With Truehold, you can sell your home for its current value, so you can access your equity today. You can bank the cash now and stay in the home you love with an easy standard lease. TrueHold even covers property taxes, insurance, and repairs. And since TrueHold hands over your equity in cash now, it's yours to do whatever you'd like. Don't let a shifting economy put your hard-earned equity at risk. Visit TrueHold.com and receive their competitive offer on your home in just 48 hours, based on its current value, not what's coming. Call 1-855-300-9993 or visit TrueHold.com. The smarter, faster way to cash out on your home's value without moving. That's TrueHold.com.
Bishop and Friends is sponsored by Diamond Seller, your true jeweler for over 75 years. The Fan, Ohio sports destination.
What's up?
What's up, man? What's up with you?
Sponsored by High Bank Distillery, home of the best blended whiskey in America. Grab a bottle or dine in at their 3 restaurant locations, Grandview, Gahanna, and now in Westerville. Drink local. Drink High Bank.
And here's what's up on a Reaction Monday edition of the program. We had it on the Brian Heating Cooling Systems fan guest hotline. Conversation with our great friend Ben Baby, ESPN, covering the Bengals. Thank you so much for the time, pal. How close to what they wanted to get out of this draft did the Bengals get out of this draft?
I think the only thing that they really could have maximized on this a little bit more is that they could have gotten a couple more picks, maybe. But it also takes 2 to tango. In that scenario, you need a team that's willing to trade up, feels like there's a threat of a guy on their board getting taken and is willing to sacrifice some picks maybe this year or next year to go ahead and to make that happen. But all in all, I think the Bengals could not get out of the first round without getting an edge rusher. When you look at the Trey Hendrickson situation, you look at, irrespective of him, what's going to be on the roster after this season, only 2 edge rushers. You needed to go out and get somebody at the top of the draft that you felt good about. And Shamar Stewart, that's going to be a big boomer bust pick for them. We'll see if that pans out. I think the lack of production is going to be something that is going to be a big issue, and I think he knows that. I mean, I asked him point blank about how he expects to massage those expectations, and he believes that he'll be able to improve the technique. And he was disruptive enough in college, and he feels like that will translate into more sacks. But that has to happen, otherwise the Bengals will be staring at a big question mark about not only this season, but about how they really drafted these last few years.
Yeah, Ben, you alluded to it. Just for our audience, just 11 tackles for loss and 4.5 sacks in 3 seasons at Texas A&M for Shamar Stewart, the first-round pick of the Cincinnati Bengals. I know you have a lot of great connections down there in that part of the world. When you talk to folks down there, why was the production so low?
It looked like he won a good amount. It was just a matter of just missing tackles. I know Dave Brugge was the beast. He had him with a very high missed tackle rate. I think it was around 28%, if I'm not mistaken. I think it was roughly in that category. And that's why when I looked at with the Bengals, their options at edge rusher, I know that he tested through the roof. However, they've had a lot of issues with tackling. That's been one of the biggest things that they talked about in this offseason. And for them to turn around and then go get an edge rusher of that magnitude who hasn't, who didn't tackle all that great. I think that they believe that defensive coordinator Al Golden's going to be the one who can unlock some of that potential, really get him where he needs to be. And I think they will, 9 times out of 10, they will bank on those traits over maybe less traits and more production.
Before we get to the rest of the draft, buddy, what do you think is going to happen with Trey Hendrickson? What are you hearing?
It's been all quiet every time I've checked on that front recently, which I find interesting. I think that what makes the most sense for both sides is they don't meet in the middle to some degree. I don't think anyone's going to be happy, but then again, when you have a negotiation and a compromise, nobody really ever is. I think it's something that everyone can live with. And I think it makes sense for the Bengals to try to find a way to show him how much they value him. And then at the same time, Hendrickson's market is probably not as robust as he thought it was when they granted the trade request, especially that nobody made a move pre-draft. And if you needed an edge rusher, you would have addressed that by now, either in free agency or the draft. So, we'll see how this thing plays out. But given how the Bengals drafted, I think that there's now an avenue for them to get some extra money in cap savings and accelerate that, put that towards cash, towards a potential Hendrickson deal this season.
It's if I were to told you, I mean, maybe you felt differently. I just thought there's no way they're going to be able to keep them all. I just thought, no way. How could they possibly do it? And it feels like we're getting closer to that. Higgins, Chase already done, and maybe Hendrickson too. So it's an incredible job if they're able to pull it off and the circumstances that allowed for it. Talking to the great Ben Baby, ESPN covers the Bengals. How many what did they need out of this in terms of, we talked about Stewart, but you go linebacker in round 2, a couple of interior offensive linemen, linebacker in round 4 as well. In terms of positional need, what do you make of what they did and what still needs to be accomplished?
Yeah, I think they checked off all of the big boxes. I think maybe they're looking at getting maybe a backup safety, maybe an extra cornerback. We'll see what happens as cuts play out across the league, and usually those depth pieces you can find later on in free agency. But they really went out, and I think the fact that they went linebacker round 2 signaled they really wanted a guy who's almost 25 at the Patriots night out of South Carolina. They wanted somebody who could come in and start right away, replace Jermaine Pratt on the outside opposite Logan Wilson. And that'll be money that they'll save this year, and they feel like that's going to make them a better defense. And then Dylan Fairchild, they raved about him maybe more than any pick that they took this week, the guard out of Georgia. And, Dan Pinter, the offensive coordinator, said point blank, it is absolutely Dylan's job to lose at left guard this offseason. So he needs to come in, and he's played with the Marius Mims, last year's first-round pick, the Bengals right tackle. So they should, get 3 potential day-one starters out of this draft, or at least 3 day-one contributors, or week-one contributors, I should say. And if that happens, I think you're looking at this draft a little bit differently than you do now. But if it doesn't happen, again, that's going to be a big issue on how they built this team.
Yeah. Ben, what do you make of Al Golden? He's been available a couple of times, and obviously he was available this weekend because a lot of these were defensive picks. What changes do you anticipate him bringing defensively, and how do you think the personnel meshes with what he wants to do?
Yeah, I think that he's got enough schematic flexibility. I think he's going to like to play. When they're going to be a base personnel against teams like the Ravens that traditionally will have 2 tight ends out there, maybe a fullback, you're going to be in 4-3. But now the way that the game has changed, teams are so rarely in that package. You're going to be in 5 defensive back formations and play a lot of that nickel front or that nickel secondary coverage. So I think that's not going to really change a lot from what Lou Anarumo did. I think the biggest thing that they're hoping is that Al is able to develop the younger players and really make sure that they can get them up to speed quickly and get them to contribute quickly. I think that was one of the biggest knocks against Anarumo, especially last season. And given all of the talent that they've drafted on the defensive side of the ball over these last few years that just haven't really lived up to their potential. Now we'll see. Was that a Golden thing, or was that an Anarumo thing? Was that a scouting thing? Was it a development thing? This season will tell us a lot more about all those factors, but they feel really confident. I know the phrase Al Golden's vision was talked a ton about this week, and I'm assuming it's not his eyesight because I haven't seen him wear any glasses. So I think that's fine, but they're going to want to see what that defense is going to look like under his mold and how he plans to implement that moving forward.
Ben, you know what a Super Bowl contender looks like. You've covered one. Does this roster look like that to you?
That's tough. I think defensively is the big question mark. I mean, going into that 2021 year, we did not realize how good Chidobe Awuzie was going to be. Trey Hendrickson coming off of, we thought it was a fluke here in New Orleans. And the Jesse Bates, TJ Reader had phenomenal years. The Bengals I don't know that they have those guys on the roster currently. They keep Trey. If they can get those back-end players to play a little bit better, I think you're having a different kind of conversation. But I think this team has made no bones about it. If they're going to be a championship contender, it's going to be on the strength of Joe Burrow, Jamar Chase, and Higgins. And, oh, by the way, during that playoff run, we did not see the best of Burrow. I thought that was really a defensive-led run a few years ago. And then in 22, you saw maybe a bit more balanced attack when they lost the AFC or lost to Kansas City in that AFC rematch. So I think that you need this defense to develop. I still do not think right now they are in that championship conversation. They're going to need to play up to that level and show that they've got the guys on defense to be able to compete at that level.
Ben, I'll get you out of here on this one. We do a segment here on the show called Thing or Not a Thing. Pretty self-explanatory. All of this noise around the stadium down there, is this a thing or is this not a thing right now?
I think it is thing, maybe half a thing, if I want to put it that way, because the thing is, I don't think that there's an immediate issue that, for the lease to expire and then to move on. I think that the Bengals are currently redoing our media workroom. I don't think that all these renovations would have been happening. They got a new locker room last year. If you're going to cut bait after 2025 and once the lease is up in 26, then you probably don't go through the renovations they're going through now. They're building in, I believe, like an extra broadcast bay, for all the cabling that's going to be there. So there are renovations being done that shows that they're looking towards at least the next few years. Now, as toward a long-term lease, I think that's where the question is going to be really raised. What's going to happen? The Bengals could theoretically stay in Paycor for another 10 years, given the terms of the current lease. And so I think that what the appetite's going to be for the Bengals franchise to pay out of their own pocket to get a stadium done, given all of the other deals and similar situations around the league, I think that's what's really going to maybe push this thing over the edge. And once we get a better sense of how hardline the Bengals are going to be on how much public funding they want, I think that's going to dictate the whole conversation. And the other part of it, too, I don't think there's as much of an appetite from other cities. Now, I could be wrong, to go out and pay a ton of taxpayer dollars for a stadium. We've seen that across the league. Nationwide, there's been a greater trend for teams or for cities and counties to move away from that. So that, I think, worked against the Bengals. And, it's going to be a lot like a contract negotiation. But I think there's nothing immediate, but it's definitely something that I think over time will continue to be a big issue.
Ben, you're the best, buddy. Thank you so much for your time and giving us a little bit of it today.
Anytime, Bo. Thanks.
All right, there he goes. Ben Baby covers the Bengals at an expert level at ESPN on the Bryan Heating and Cooling Systems fan guest hotline. The Steelers draft, I believe we had that. A lot of it. Coming up next, Bishop and Friends right here on The Fan.
Unlike your deadbeat uncle, we'll never leave you stranded in a ditch when you were 6. This promo may have been a touch too specific. The Fan.
Need inspiration? Shop Kroger for mouth-watering meals and appetizing ingredients. Our low prices add up to big savings, plus over $600 in digital coupons each week, and up to $1 off per gallon at the pump. At Kroger, you always get big flavors and big savings. Kroger, fresh for everyone. Fuel restrictions apply.
Mix and match 5 or more items for just 99 cents each with your card. Choose Campbell's Soup, Kroger brand pasta, North Sides, and more. Kroger, fresh for everyone.
Hey guys, don't waste time and money with low-quality online TRT that charges you over $100 just to start. Visit the TRT experts today at Low T Center for a free consultation and free test. The treatment is personalized to your body, and most major insurance is accepted. And you'll get the freedom to choose if you want in-center care or at-home treatment. Looking to lose weight? Get a free B12 shot when you start prescription treatment. The offer is limited, so book now at fixmylowt.com. That's fixmylowt.com.
Legend has it, underneath the NJM insurance offices lies a mysterious room of long-forgotten, moldy mascot memorabilia. Often pitched by ad agencies, always rejected by NJM. Is it real? We may never know. But what is real is NJM's dedication to doing what's right for their customers. Astoundingly, they're proud to put policyholders first. No jingles or mascots, just great insurance. Learn more at njm.com.
Insurance underwritten by NJM Insurance Company and its subsidiaries.
It's a different world today than it was 30 years ago when I started Care Heating and Cooling. This is Mike Weens, now the retired founder of Care Heating and Cooling with my sons, Dennis and Ryan.
Dad, 30 years ago, you were the first to warn of companies using service technicians as salespeople, of abusing the trust that a service technician has. With the big conglomerates now buying companies all over Central Ohio, this has become the normal business model.
It's all about greed. The conglomerates know they can make a lot more money by incentivizing their technicians to sell air conditioners instead of fixing them. They train their techs to take advantage of a customer when they are the most vulnerable.
Dad, that is not how we were taught. In 2024, Care Heating and Cooling was awarded a BBB Torch Award for Ethics and was named the Lennox Partner of the Year. You don't earn those awards by leaving cat toys behind.
Call Care Heating and Cooling at 1-800-COOLING or schedule an appointment online at careheatingandcooling.com. When you need a company you can trust.
Hey, it's Anthony from my friends at Germain Honda of Dublin. And Rich and his team are ready to get you in a great new Honda this spring. Purchase or lease. He's going to make you feel awesome about your next vehicle and your experience. Grab a hold of this one, a 2025 Honda Accord Hybrid Sport Lease it for only $347 a month for 36 months, 30,000 miles, and only $19.99 down. He's got rates as low as 2.9%. Germain Honda of Dublin on Sawmill Road, just south of 270.
Fish has been named the third best sports program director in the country. Winner. The two dudes who finished ahead of him are dead. So we're declaring him the winner. You're listening to the home of champions, the Fan, Ohio sports destination.
Quarterback Jordan Love isn't just on Green Bay's team. He's also on the American Family Insurance team. Because like us, he believes in dreaming fearlessly.
Just chase your dreams and don't let nobody hold you back.
And we help protect those dreams with the right coverage so you can
dream fearlessly.
American Family Insurance. Get a quote and find an agent at amfam.com.
Products not available in every state. American Family Mutual Insurance Company, SI, and its operating company, 6000 American Parkway, Madison, Wisconsin.
Every great team has its core players, but when the season gets tough, adding the right free agent can make all the difference. The same goes for business. At Robert Half, we found that 67% of companies surveyed plan to increase their use of contract talent to handle workload peaks and backlogged projects. With Robert Half's specialized recruiters' experience, combined with our award-winning AI, you can quickly find the skilled candidates you want. At Robert Half, we know talent. Discover how we can help at roberthalf.com/talent.
The Fan Guest Hotline is sponsored by Ohio Heating and Bryant. Doing whatever it takes to keep you and your home comfortable. The Fan.
Find us on YouTube. Search WBNS Radio and you can see what Bo looks like. But only if you subscribe. This is Bishop and Friends.
I know sometimes things are just so obvious. And it feels like the universe it all lines up. And to me, Jack Sawyer, Pittsburgh Steeler, was pretty easy. It felt like it.
Damn it.
I mean, it's not like we've been talking about this for 2 months.
We spoke it into existence.
You know it. I mean, he just checked every box that a Pittsburgh Steeler would check. It just fits like a glove. There's very little doubt in my mind that he'll be an impact player for them. I just know he will be. I think we all do. We've seen it. And the defensive fit is perfect. The scheme fit, every feeling around Sawyer to the Steelers checks out. And we said we just know he's going to get drafted there, and sure enough, he did. I thought it would be before the fourth. Slid a little bit into the middle of the fourth round, the 21st pick in the fourth round of Pittsburgh. But from a fit standpoint, fella's about as good as it can get with Sawyer, and a perfect scheme fit, culture fit, all of it.
You know, the thing is with a guy like Jack, and there's a lot of the Buckeyes were like this, they were a perfect fit everywhere. Like Donovan Jackson was a guy plug and play everywhere he went. Emeka Ibuka, he would have fit anywhere. But yeah, I mean, Jack Sawyer, there were a few teams that we thought, man, that would be a match made in heaven or hell if you're a Browns fan. And unfortunately,
I'm going to see that image for only ever of Will and Jack FaceTiming each other, both wearing Pittsburgh Steelers caps. I'm like, well, that works for both of them.
And that is a puke emoji if I've ever seen one.
Less so for the Cleveland Browns fan in me, yeah. And how about a good job out of Will Howard, not only getting drafted, but as he's having that emotional exchange with his mother, remembers to put on the Pittsburgh Steelers draft cap. That's situational awareness you just don't teach.
I was surprised he went that far down. I really thought there was a chance he could have gone at the end of the third. But I think one thing that happened, and we'll get to this at 10:20 because, you know, Quinn Ewers was drafted where he was drafted, is I think that the league kind of told you what you thought of these quarterbacks. Pretty resounding what they thought of them. And that was that this just wasn't a quarterback class that a lot of folks thought that there were potential starters in. It feels like the potential starters in terms of both the on-field, the tape, and the interview process. Cam Ward, obviously. Jackson Dart, a little, maybe. If the Giants don't come up to get him in the first round, how far does he fall?
That's a reach for me.
It is for me, too. Like I've said in the pre-draft analysis of him, I just can't shake the end of the Florida game and the way he played in that. So, it only takes one, but that felt like a reach to me. But then beyond that, it was a lot of these guys were just kind of viewed similarly as backups, career backups, and there just weren't viewed as too many guys who had like that starter ceiling in them. You mentioned that Milroe pick in the third round, and when that happened, and Shuck went third round too, I believe, right? Was he third round to the Saints?
No, I believe he was second round. I believe he was the 40th pick in the draft.
Okay, so yeah, that's right. So it went Ward, Dart, Shuck, Milroe, Gabriel, and then not till Sanders.
Mm-hmm.
Because
Correct.
they were the next two quarterbacks off the board. And then from there, that's kind of the way that it went. But to me, I look at what the Steelers did, and the other thing that I think we're going to have, now it's not finalized yet, but they're getting Aaron Rodgers. This is the draft of a team that's getting Aaron Rodgers. They drafted the heir apparent to Cam Hayward in the first round at defensive tackle. So Harmon will play with Cam Hayward. That's as good as it gets.
Great pick.
I really like the Caleb Johnson pick in the third round, the running back out of Iowa. He's a Cincinnati kid, right? I'm pretty sure he's a Cincinnati kid. So I like that pick a lot. We talked about Sawyer and Will. I think Will gives them a chance. Will's now going to get to learn. Obviously, he'll learn behind Mason Rudolph, and he's going to be able to learn from Aaron Rodgers, is pretty much what this tells me. To me, their draft says that they're getting Aaron Rodgers, and I think it's just a matter of time. Even as outwardly as they're talking about it, it feels to me like Rodgers. I've said this for a couple of weeks now. I said the draft will tell you for sure, and look what Pittsburgh did in the draft, and it's pretty obvious that they're going to go with Rodgers, and Rodgers are going to sign there. I don't know when it'll be, but anything other than that would be an enormous upset. Anything other than Aaron Rodgers quarterback in the Steelers next year.
I don't know what else it could be at this point, right?
It's not Cousins. It's not Cousins. I mean, he would be the emergency pull ripcord guy if somehow there's a change. But I'm so far in on this that to me it feels like Rodgers has told them I will be a Steeler. I just don't think that organization would go this far down the road without having that assurance.
And with Cousins and the Falcons, it feels like Atlanta would have traded him before the draft.
Sure.
Because you want capital. You want to get more defensive ends.
And you want it now, Reese.
Right. You're not going to wait for this.
You don't want it next year. You want it now. You would want that 5th round pick in this year's draft, the 4th round pick in this year's draft. You don't want to wait till next year's draft. So no, this is a behavior of a franchise that's going to sign Aaron Rodgers. And so when you do the pecking order thing in the AFC and you take that into consideration, Baltimore's obviously on top. To be the man, you got to beat the man. And then it'll be Pittsburgh with Rodgers and these picks and kind of the way that, like, they kind of have a complete team right now. They did not trade George Pickens. They acquired DK Metcalf. They're going to put Aaron Rodgers in there. You had Caleb Johnson, who I think is a stud. I think he's going to give them something. I think he's a one-cut, get-upfield guy. I like that pick a lot. And then on the defense, now you're going to have to deal. Jack Sawyer will be a situational guy where he will rotate in. Derek Harmon's a start-right-away guy. You saw him in the games we played against him. He's a beast. So you're going to put him with Cam Hayward, T.J. Watt on the outside. They'll get that contract done at some point. He'll be made happy. And it's going to be between Pittsburgh and then Cincinnati is just going to be, hey, we're going to outscore you. So those two teams will be fighting for second. And then Cleveland is in kind of a rebuild on the fly thing that they're trying to do. And they got a lot of people in that quarterback room. So who's going to quarterback them and all of that? But to me, coming out of the draft, out of free agency, you have a Baltimore, Pittsburgh, Cincinnati fight for second in two very different ways of going about it. And then the Browns would slot in fourth coming out of free agency and coming out of the draft.
I think that Steelers over-under is at 8.5, and I feel like the over is still intact. With this draft, and again, we think Aaron Rodgers is going to be there. He's going to be enough to keep them. You know, if the Steelers are a 9-8 team, Rodgers is enough at quarterback to keep them at 9-8 and maybe get them to 10-6. So, man, that over-under for the Steelers sure seems safe again. And, gosh, I mean, the Steelers, the Ravens, the Eagles, just every year they seem to hit home runs in the draft somehow, some way.
Looks really smart organizations, right, who have continuity, who draft to a certain style. There's a type. They all have a type, right? And, you know, I think that's what Cleveland hopes it has with Stefanski and Barry, is that they can draft to a type. This is a monster draft for every team in the AFC North, especially Pittsburgh, Cincinnati, and Cleveland. Like, they need multiple starters. The Browns need multiple starters. We just talked to Ben Baby about Cincinnati's situation. Multiple starters. Pittsburgh, multiple starters coming out of this. And then they're going to get, I think they're going to get Aaron Rodgers. I'd bet anything on it. What did you say the over-under is?
8.5.
8.5.
Okay, so they think they're getting Rodgers too. That's not Mason Rudolph, 8.5. They think they're getting Rodgers too. So that's kind of the way that this is going to kind of shake out. Go ahead, Reese.
You got about 20 teams eligible right now for the yet-to-be-determined Hard Knocks. Yeah. And the Bengals and the Steelers are two of them. Doesn't look like the Browns can do it. Also, the Ravens can. It'd be incredible television to be in Pittsburgh for that. Yeah. They won't do it, obviously, because it just doesn't sound like anything they'd agree to, but I'm not certain they can say no.
Well, Reese, here's why I think they can, though. The AFC North was just on in-season Hard Knocks.
Okay.
Right? So they just did it. Remember they did the entire AFC
They did the
North.
whole, division.
Yeah. So my guess is that's going to be their get-out-of-jail-free
That'd be such wonderful television, though.
Yeah. Yeah. Who's available for that? Do you have the list?
I have the list, yeah. So Cardinals, Falcons, Ravens, Bills, Panthers, Bengals, Broncos, Packers, Texans, Colts, Chiefs, Dolphins, Vikings, Giants, Eagles, Steelers, Niners, Seahawks, Titans, Commanders. It's 20 teams.
Okay. Yeah, there's some good ones in there. There are definitely some good ones in there. All right, we will get to where the Buckeyes got drafted, the landing spots for your Buckeyes. Whose do we like? And what did we learn about Ohio State football this weekend in the NFL draft? We'll get to all of that coming up next. Second hour, Bishop and Friends, right here on The Fan.
The Big Nine was a sad, incomplete place. Enter Ohio State. The rest is history. The Buckeye Show.
Weeknights at 6.
The Fan.
As men get older, our bodies change. We all know that, and often we just accept the changes as the way it is. But some of those changes, such as bad sleep patterns, low sex drive, brain fog, no energy, and reduced gains in the gym, could be due to low testosterone. And that is something you can change. This is Jeff for Tri-State Men's Health. And even if you're in your 30s, or if you're experiencing some or all of the symptoms I just noted, you very well may need low testosterone treatment. With our treatment protocols, if you're like most men, you'll be amazed at the change. You'll have more energy, improved mental clarity, and your sleep will be better, so will your workouts, and you'll likely find your sex drive increases too. So give us a call today and make a change for the good. And for a limited time, new patients will get their initial appointment free, which includes blood work and a medical consult, because we believe low T treatments could have an incredible impact on your life. Call 800-900-9654 or go to tristatemenshealth.com. We have 6 offices in the tri-state area to serve you. Tri-State Men's Health, a Promenic restorative health practice.
From the hardwood to the warehouse, performance matters. That's why Caster Connection, proudly based in Columbus and trusted nationwide, delivers industrial caster and wheel solutions to keep operations rolling smoothly. With an unrivaled online inventory and the best consultative experts in the industry, we'll help you find the right caster for any job. Shop now at casterconnection.com and save 10% on online orders with promo code ROLL10. Not a retail location.
Bands are us when dreams don't get in. Bands are us.
Right now, get $1,500 off a shower or tub replacement or $3,000 off a full bathroom remodel, plus low to no monthly payments. Call 380-225-BATH to schedule your free estimate or go to bathsareus.com. 380-225-BATH.
Bands are us when dreams don't get in. Bands are us.
Forever starts with the perfect diamond. Hi, it's Alex Johnson from The Diamond Seller, and for over 78 years, our family has helped generations of couples celebrate love with brilliance, quality, and unbeatable prices. At Diamond Seller, bigger diamonds and better prices are our promise to you. Whether you're popping the question or upgrading your sparkle, trust the experts. Because diamonds, they're our forte. Visit us at Diamond Seller on Salmo Road or at Easton Town Center and learn more at diamondseller.com.
Common
Common Man here for Jermaine Lexus of Dublin and Easton. Guess what? It's driving season, friends, and my friends at Jermaine Lexus are ready for you with their most popular models on the lot and ready to go with special APRs as low as 3.99%, up to 48 months, or 4.49%, up to 60 months with low lease payments starting at $389 per month on the 2025 NX. And if you're looking for a TX, they're finally available for immediate delivery. Jermaine Lexus, 2 locations to serve you, Dublin and Easton, JermaineLexus.com.
Boating season is finally here, and Buckeye Lake Marina is your go-to destination for all your on-the-water needs. With the largest inventory in Central Ohio, you can choose from top brands like Bennington, South Bay, Crown Line, and more. Buckeye Lake Marina has it all. Pontoon boats, luxury tri-toon boats, even merch. Open 7 days a week to serve you better. Find your next dream boat at Buckeye Lake Marina. Visit BuckeyeLakeMarina.com today for all your on-the-water needs. The good life, the lake life, starts at Buckeye Lake Marina.
Military veterans and active duty service members, you could become a certified cyber warrior with just 12 weeks of training at My Computer Career. Cybersecurity specialists are in high demand, and IT pros with these skills often enjoy abundant opportunity and a great lifestyle. Protect our people, liberty, and treasured institutions from cyber threats. SkillBridge and other VA benefits are available to those who qualify. Learn more at mycomputercareer.edu/CWP. That's mycomputercareer.edu/CWP.
The sports calendar is heating up, and with ESPN Bet Sportsbook, you can go from checking news to stats to placing bets in a couple of taps. Stream games, bet live, and get exclusive offers when you link your ESPN account. Right now, you can get $100 in bonus bets when you make your first $10 wager. Download the ESPN Bet app and sign up with promo code USL to get started today. Must be 21 or older. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Terms and conditions apply. See app for details. Offer not available in New York.
Evan Cohen here. When you're on a business trip, you know what goes completely off the rails? Your workout routine, especially when you book a hotel that doesn't have a gym. Then you have to squeeze in between the desk and your bed, eke out 2 push-ups, and call it a day. If you just stay at La Quinta by Wyndham, you'll discover their fully equipped fitness center at every location. Now you can wake up and do some weightlifting to prepare you to carry your team on your back all day. Tonight, La Quinta. Tomorrow you shine. Book direct at lq.com.
Broadcasting from the Lindsay Honda Studios.
Honda makes the cars. Lindsay makes the difference. Visit lindsayhonda.com.
WBNS-FM, HD1 Columbus. The Fan. Sports Center.
Good morning. I'm Eric Reeser. The NFL Draft wrapped up over the weekend. 14 Buckeyes were selected over the 3-day event in Green Bay. That led all FBS schools this year and tied a program record. Buckeyes had 14 drafted in 2004. 3 other Ohio State players signed as undrafted free agents. Center Seth McLaughlin with the Bengals, tackle Josh Fryer with the Cardinals, and tight end G. Scott Jr. landed with the Patriots. Next up for the NFL is the schedule release, which will happen on Wednesday, May 14th. In the NBA tonight, the Cavaliers can sweep the Heat with a win in Miami in Game 4 of their first-round series. Tip-off from South Beach's 7:30. Cleveland handed Miami its worst playoff loss ever. Cavs smashed the Heat by 37 in Game 3. And in baseball, the Reds ride their 4-game win streak back to Cincinnati tonight, hosting the Cardinals at 6:40. You can hear that game on ESPN Columbus. This update sponsored by Dr. Mark Levy. If you're snoring and not sleeping, call Dr. Mark Levy's office at 1-800-MORE-SLEEP or online at sleepbettercolumbus.com.
The best hair on the air. You were listening to Bishop and Friends.
All right, so we knew Dean Evison was coaching Team Canada, but I see both our young guys are gonna play there as well, according to the great Aaron Portzline in the World Championships, which are coming up this summer. Both Fantilli and Kent Johnson will play for Team Canada. That's one of those sneaky cool things. I'm always worried about just the injury side of it too, though. I mean, those guys, Fantilli played a lot. Johnson dealt with one, but in the end, it's hockey, and it's typically less physical as well. So that's a fun one that they're both involved in. Go ahead, Reese.
So I saw Porty did some speculating this morning, as well as the Penguins relieved Mike Sullivan of his duties.
Yeah.
John Tortorella to Pittsburgh. Now, Porty's only saying that would be fun. He's not connecting any dots. There's no red yarn anywhere. It's just hey, wouldn't that be a fun place for Tortorella to land in Pittsburgh?
They got a ton of things to sort out there, right?
I don't think it would be. It would be fun. That's for sure.
Do you think Sid plays his whole career in Pittsburgh?
Yeah.
Yeah, I do.
Right?
I think he wants
to. That's the Lemieux path.
Wow.
That's not the Gretzky path.
I don't think so. Sullivan is a Torts disciple. They are very close, very good friends. And while they don't coach exactly the same way, I can't believe that that's the case. And also, Pittsburgh's not going to go full rebuild because they still have Sid. But they're on the wrong side of things here. They're not winning in the next couple of years, so I can't see Torts doing that. You have heard Torts with the Rangers, and now that Sullivan's relieved of his duties, I believe the Rangers will run to sign him.
Yeah, the Sid thing long term is going to be interesting. Like Kobe played out now Sid was still great last year, really good. But Kobe played out the thing with the Lakers and kind of just in ambiguity a little bit, right? I mean, they weren't relevant towards the end. Lemieux, I don't remember when he came back, I don't remember how many times they were kind of in the mix, but he came back and played to kind of save the franchise there. Gretzky paid for a bunch of teams at the end. People forget he played for the Blues. Like, do you remember that? Gretzky played for the Blues before finishing with the Rangers.
Mm-hmm.
So those things can kind of happen a little bit. Stevie Y only played for the Red Wings. So I think but Bork was Bruins the whole time and then finished with the Avs. So, like, it can happen, certainly, but I think that'll be an interesting one for him, and good reporting out of Porty as always. Okay, so the Buckeyes ended up with 14 drafted. I would not have had Will Howard being the last one, but he was the last one that was picked. Denzel Burke went in front of him, Jordan Hancock, Ty Hamilton, all those guys went ahead of him. I really thought fourth round for Will. I was surprised he went all the way to the sixth. He did fall. I do think it's a really good spot for him, though, in terms of the circumstances. That is a model organization. That's an organization that if you do the right things, they will hang on to you. They will believe in you. They will nurture you. I think, Will, if you're looking for like kind of the blueprint of what you would like your career to be, just look in your room. Mason Rudolph's it. He was perfect backup for a long time, got his shot to be the starter. It didn't work out maybe the way that he wanted it to. But Mason Rudolph's got to be close. Is he like a decade in the league at this point? I mean, it's been a while since he's been around.
He'll be 30 in July.
Okay, so you're close. You're 6-7 years into the league. Like, so if you're Howard and you're a 6th-round pick, like, I'm not sure you could land in a better spot than the one that he landed in. So much of these picks make all the sense in the world. Emeka to Tampa Bay, we've talked about. Obviously, Donovan Jackson, Tyleik Williams, and Josh Simmons all were ones. I think the two backs landed in borderline perfect spots. I think Travion landing in New England with what Mike wants to do there with Drake May, Josh McDaniels at the helm. I think he's everything that they want a running back to be in New England. And I think Quinshon, the quarterback thing's got to get sorted out, but I think what Kevin Stefanski wants to be is a wide zone, play action, get downhill. They want Quinshon Judkins to be what Nick Chubb was for them. And Nick Chubb was a 2nd-round pick. Now, I don't think you want to put that on him. That's a lot. There's times you could argue Nick Chubb is the best running back in all of football. I don't think that that's a realistic expectation, but I think when you take a guy that high in the 2nd round, you do expect them to be your bell cow, and I think that's what they expect out of Quinshon.
I know Reese wanted the Browns to take Travion a lot. I always thought Quinshon was the better fit in Cleveland, and the one thing we know about Quinshon, he's a touchdown machine. Like, when you get the ball down in the red zone, he will get that in there. When the Patriots took Travion, and we talked a little bit about this Friday, if Josh Simmons wouldn't have been there, I feel like the Chiefs would have ran to the podium to draft Travion. That seemed like the perfect fit. But who was the back? Was it Kevin Falk that the Patriots had for years during LSU, the Brady? Like, Quinshon, I feel like he's a little more of a home run hitter, maybe a better runner of the football, but that seemed like Kevin Falk reincarnated to me.
Yeah, I think Trey fits really well there. Arizona kind of became Buckeye West. We play a lot of Fiesta Bowls out there, but they've got a ton of our guys in the mix there. Denzel ended up going there as well, and so did Cody Simon in the 4th round. I would not have had Cody Simon going ahead of Jack Sawyer. Would not have had that.
I thought that was a little high for Cody, but a good spot for him.
He also feels, though, like one of those guys you just plug and play, and he's going to start day one. Like, I think a lot of these guys are going to be in that spot.
How about the Cardinals, by the way? They may have gotten their 2 starting cornerbacks in this draft with Will Johnson and Denzel Burke. Denzel Burke in the 5th round is great value to me. I'm still a believer in him.
Yeah, I think so too. I think it's really good value there as well. It speaks to, though, I think one thing that, and we're going to expand on this coming up here in the very next segment at the quarterback position. I think the reality is we've never been smarter at identifying football talent than we are now. And the we is the collective we, right? It's high schools, it's scouting services, it's colleges, and it's the NFL. Just think about this. There were 32 first-round picks on Thursday. 25 were 4 or 5-star prospects out of high school. 25. Now, 2 in the top 10 weren't, and that was Genty and Ward. And obviously there were 4 others as well. But just in terms of, just think about that from the standpoint of, like, we can identify kids at 16, 17, and 18. They go get developed, and then they're ready to go. If you go look at this Ohio State signing class that had Mech and JT and Jack and Travion and all of those cats in that class, look at where they ended up. All these guys were big, huge recruits. And they came to Ohio State, they got better, they got developed, and now they're in the league. I mean, that's as straight a line as you're going to get. Like, if you get recruited here, you're going to play in the league. And this is just, there'd be more of this. 14 guys in a draft. It's NFLU. But it starts early. They identify them, they develop them, and then they're ready. And I think the track record over the last decade or so of Buckeyes making an immediate impact is evident. It's all there. I like a lot of the spots for these guys, fellas.
And I wholehearedly believe Seth McLaughlin would have been drafted had it not been for that torn Achilles. Like, so it would have been 15.
You're right. Yeah.
Because I forgot about him almost completely in the first and second rounds. And then I remembered Saturday. I'm like, oh, yeah, I wonder where Seth gets taken. And the fact that he didn't was a bit of a surprise to me because, yeah.
He's in Cincinnati, right?
Yeah, he signed with the Bengals as a UFA. Yeah. But I just wondered, maybe a team sees the medicals and says, well, we could probably get him as a UFA. But, man, he'll be really good once he's 100%.
I feel like he'll be the starting center for the Bengals, like long term. And they just got him as a UFA. Like,
like this
healthy.
year, maybe. Even.
Yeah. I mean, that injury happened in November. So, yeah, I mean, the second half of this year, he could come back, be a rotational guy. But there's no doubt in my mind that he'll land there. I love that fit for him. Obviously, you would rather be drafted. But I think once you're in those late rounds, like 5th, 6th, 7th, sometimes it's better to be a free agent, get to pick your destination. And his destination's a pretty good fit. Now, there's one other thing that happened this weekend. We had 3 quarterbacks who have been here, and they were all drafted really late, a lot later than we would have thought that they would have been drafted. What do we make of that, and what do we make of how the NFL views quarterback different from how college does? Because I think there are some things that are out there on that. We'll get to that coming up next. Bishop and Friends right here on The Fan.
Winners of the prestigious Platinum Microphone Award every year, given to the best radio station in the world. No need to look it up. It's real. The Fan.
Sometimes I hear a sparkling sound.
Like when we say, all you have to do is point?
There it is.
That's the sound of magic happening.
Magic like we can come the day you call us? Wow.
Call 1-800-GOT-JUNK or visit 1-800-GOT-JUNK.com.
Legend has it, underneath the NJM insurance offices lies a mysterious room of long-forgotten, moldy mascot memorabilia. Often pitched by ad agencies, always rejected by NJM. Is it real? We may never know. But what is real is NJM's dedication to doing what's right for their customers. Astoundingly, they're proud to put policyholders first. No jingles or mascots, just great insurance. Learn more at njm.com.
Insurance underwritten by NJM Insurance Company and its subsidiaries.
Everyone deserves a fast and reliable connection. One that helps better their everyday through the things they value most. Friends and family, education and career. A connection that opens pathways to opportunity and builds roads to a better future. At Spectrum, we're committed to delivering just that every single day. Because with the right connection, anything is possible. That's Life Unlimited. That's Spectrum.
For over 78 years, our family's been part of your love stories. At Diamond Seller, we offer bigger diamonds, better prices, and timeless designs for every chapter of your life. From your first yes to your forever I do, trust the jeweler who knows diamonds best. Visit Diamond Seller today.
Guys, what's up? It's Matty Ice, and I'm here with Wendy's. And if you're looking for your next sandwich love, check out the Cajun Crunch Chicken Sandwich. This sandwich really has me feeling the heat, and it's packed with bold Cajun flavors that add that perfect little kick. Plus, it's topped with crispy onions that give it a satisfying crunch in every single bite. And did I mention this is all on top of Wendy's iconic spicy chicken sandwich? So if you love that, you have to get your hands on this Cajun Crunch Chicken Sandwich before it's gone. For that little extra kick, it's got to be Wendy's. Open until midnight or later.
If you're 55 and up, T-Mobile has plans built just for you. 2 lines of unlimited for just $30 a line. That's a 45% savings compared to Verizon and AT&T. But don't just take our word for it.
It's not just the savings that are great with our T-Mobile plan. There's all this value from all these other things that T-Mobile offers.
T-Mobile has been such a savings for us.
We love it. Switch today and get 2 free 5G phones like the Motorola Edge with Turbo Power charging that gives you power for the day in just 15 minutes. And customers 55 and up can get 2 lines of talk, text, and data for only $30 a line. Go to T-Mobile.com/55 to learn more. With 24 monthly bill credits and 2 new lines with autopay for well-qualified customers plus taxes, fees, and $35 per line connection charge. Credits end and balance due if you pay off early or cancel. Contact us plus $5 per line without autopay. Debit or bank account required. 45% off 2 lines versus AT&T Starter and Verizon Welcome. Plan benefits vary. See details at T-Mobile.com. Motorola Edge requires 68-watt charger. Charger sold separately. Actual performance will vary based on usage and configuration.
May I have your attention for some important programming news? Sorry. T-Bone and Tyvis are hosting mornings, weekdays at 6, starting May 12th. That means Common Man and Timmy will share Bro Love at 3. The Fan.
We plant trees because people need trees, and when planted in the right place, they have great impact. Trees help slow climate change, filter our air and water, foster biodiversity, and strengthen our communities. They create the kind of transformational change the world needs now. April is a month filled with opportunities to care for and plant trees. For planting resources, contact an Ohio ISA certified arborist who can help you learn how to take the best care of your trees. Visit trees4ohio.org. That's trees4ohio.org.
Have you ever told a friend?
Oh, I'm fine.
When you really felt?
Just so overwhelmed.
Or sent a text?
Can't sleep. Are you awake?
When you couldn't find the words to say?
I'm scared to be alone with my thoughts right now.
Then this is your sign to reach out to the 988 Lifeline for 24/7 free confidential support. You don't have to hide how you feel. Text, call, or chat anytime.
Fan weather.
From the Logan AC and Heat Services Weather Center.
Fantastic start to the work week. Afternoon highs will be in the low 80s with plenty of sun, turning into mostly clear skies overnight and lows in the 60s. For Tuesday, we'll start off dry, but then chances of showers develop with strong to severe storms possible late afternoon to early evening. Breezy winds and afternoon highs in the low 80s. For the Fan, I'm meteorologist Meredith Garfolo with your 10 weather impact forecast.
If you haven't thought about Buckeye football today, I'm sorry to tell you that you're dead. Our condolences. Your home of the Buckeyes, the Fan. Bo knows many people. He talks to the interesting ones on this show. This is Bishop and Friends.
One of those interesting ones will be Austin Ward. He joins in 13 minutes. We are, of course, sponsored and proud to be sponsored by great friends at Diamond Seller, your true jeweler for over 78 years. Will Howard, 185, 6th round. Kyle McCord, 181, 6th round. Quinn Ewers, 231, 7th round. The Ewers thing is interesting. If you were an NFL team, would you have any yellow or red flags if you went into the room with which he was waiting to be drafted?
That's a huge red flag. Like in every horror movie where they have rooms that look like that, someone ends up dead in that room.
It's Brad Wesley's house.
Could you have gone to any other room to plug your it looked like he was on a webcam. So
Texas, baby.
Look like he had the Logitech webcam stuck on the top of his TV, and he just had to pick that room.
I feel like that's what the Ponderosa looks like.
Every single piece of wall space had a dead animal head.
No, that was loaded up, dude. It was like Brad Wesley's house. I've never seen anything like it. I thought Taker was going to be running around.
And that's a villain. So you are living in a villain lair. Okay.
Even Cabela said that was a little much.
Cabela's was
Bass Pro Shop Pyramid doesn't have that much.
No, it was a lot of dead animals. Look, I mean, I grew up in a part of the country where taxidermy is a big deal, and it's pretty cool, and you go out and hunt, and then you have the trophy on the wall. I certainly understand there are people who it's not for, but that was aggressive even by taxidermy standards. I mean, that was a crazy amount, and it's like, all I kept thinking was, my God, did all that kombucha money end up going to African safari hunting trips? Because you're not getting impalas in the plains of Texas. You're not getting black bucks those are African deer is what those things are.
And it's a good job out of ESPN because they just kept going back to it. Like, as your producer sitting in Bristol, like, if that webcam's got connection, we'll just keep showing it. And the idea that he dropped not as much as everybody kind of thought he would go where he went, but the idea that you just kept going to shots of it was really Quinn and another person. Like, there wasn't a draft party. I mean, I guess he had enough company with the souls of the dead animals or whatever.
Speaking of ESPN and going back to rooms, bad job out of them not going to Tyler Shucks more often. That dude's winning at life.
He did well. Yeah, he's going to be the latest in the line. Already married, too, I think, right? I think she was introduced.
He's 26.
Yeah. I guess it's time.
I mean, it could be. I don't know if everybody around was her family or his family or what it was, but that was a good-looking room.
That was, yeah. They did quite well for themselves. I think the thing that I'm fascinated by is there were reports at the end of the college football season that Quinn Ewers could have made upwards of $8 million playing college football. Remember, he had a year of eligibility left. He could have. Now, what we also know through the pre-draft process is that Quinn Ewers made a great deal of money playing quarterback in college football, starting here with a $1.7 million memorabilia deal. That kombucha deal was supposed to be $1 million too, so he had both of those things. Then he went to Texas and made a bunch of money there. And so if there was an offer for $7 or $8 million, as was reported at the end of last season, some folks thought it was Notre Dame. That never meshed to me. That never felt like a fit. We were on a text exchange, Reese, you and me and Tyvis will join us at 11:30 for some perspective on the draft. And I think you nailed it. Like, if there was a place that would offer that for Quinn Ewers, to me it was Texas Tech, and that was one of the places you mentioned as well. Like, they're rich with oil money. They were ultra aggressive in the portal. They feel like if someone offered him that type of money, he could have that type of impact at Texas Tech. And so the question becomes whether it was Texas Tech or TCU or whomever it may have been. Maybe it was A&M, who knows, that was going to offer him a bunch of money. Could have been Arkansas. Hell, could have been Texas. Who knows? If that type of money was out there, will it get to the point, if you're a mid to late round quarterback, that it's smarter to make the NIL money in college, that in a sense you're worth more in college than you are in professional football? And maybe that weighed into this. I mean, you cannot tell me there's a world where Graham Mertz is a better pro prospect than Quinn Ewers. I just don't buy it. I just don't in any way. And he was drafted ahead of him. He was drafted ahead of Quinn Ewers.
Curtis Rourke.
Curtis Rourke shredded, what was his knee?
Yep.
A couple of times, if I'm not mistaken, and he was drafted ahead of him. Cam Miller out of North Dakota State. Riley Leonard was drafted ahead of Quinn Ewers. Riley Leonard has arm issues. Quinn can make throws, but there's obviously some red flags there. Will college quarterbacks look at Quinn Ewers going forward and say, it's more profitable for me to do this than to roll the dice here? Because I'm going to tell you something. You're a 7th-round quarterback. Good luck making the team. Good luck.
I think the logical answer is yes. I was thinking Carson Beck would be the answer to that question, but he won't because he injured his elbow, and so he would have probably been undrafted this year had he gone out, because you don't know what you're really going to get with him. Or maybe he would have gotten drafted. I don't know,
maybe.
But the idea that he's getting, 4.5 to go to Miami, like, that's a lot better than than all of these rookie quarterbacks are going to be getting.
We kind of saw it this year a little bit as a whole with this group from Ohio State, and then if you're just talking quarterbacks, we kind of saw it with Cam Ward, right? Mm-hmm. Now it's way different that he comes back and ends up becoming the number 1 pick in the draft, but he probably would have been 3rd or 4th round last year. He said, you know what? I'm going to go back to school and I can make more money here than in the NFL. And it really worked out for him where he ends up being the number 1 pick.
I think the big thing that NFL that is different now with NIL than it was previously from the NFL's perspective is I think the NFL is looking at these guys who aren't first and second round picks, and they're saying, are you going to be coachable? Are you willing to be a good teammate in a room? And if you're drafting someone like Carson Beck, who's made, by the time he gets to his NFL team next year, and let's say he's not a first-round pick, he's a second, who knows, and he's made upwards of $9 million playing college football or something in that vicinity, is he coachable? Is he willing? I think that's part of what happened to Shedeur. Like, you've been the star. You've made, I mean, think about this. Shadur Sanders is a fifth-round pick. He has been featured in ads for KFC. And isn't there a wireless plan that they were doing, like nationwide?
There's a Google one with him and Shiloh.
Yeah. So, I mean, like, think about the amount of money he's made off the field already, let alone his NIL inducements at Colorado. So now all of a sudden you put him into an NFL room, and he's a fifth-round quarterback, and he's fifth on a depth chart, fourth on a depth chart going in. How coachable is he? And I think the same thing could be true with Quinn Ewers. And the NFL looked at Quinn and they go, yeah, we see the arm talent, but the feet are bad off of balance. There's not a lot of discipline in the pocket. But at the same time, there's that arm. But this kid made a lot of money in college football. Is he going to be happy making $700,000, which is a dramatic pay cut for him? Is he going to be happy doing that and supporting the starters in the room?
And I think with Quinn, there's nothing elite, right?
But there's.
And so when you get
like
down,
at times the arm is sometimes big. I don't know. I guess not. But remember, like, he is. I have so many questions about him because he was the way he was evaluated coming out of high school. The fact that Texas wouldn't move off of him, and they had Arch sitting there, and they would not move off of him. They moved off of him at the second quarter of the Georgia game. And then Arch played well enough in the two games he was in and started that they could have just stuck with him, but they didn't. They went back to him. So I'm with you. It's a very strange one to him go seventh round pick.
I think it was one of those things in this draft where you had to fall in love with something with a quarterback or feel that a quarterback really fits your system. Like the Browns obviously thought really highly of Dillon Gabriel, so they drafted him higher than we thought. But I think Dillon Gabriel is a very accurate quarterback, and he has a pretty strong arm, and I think Cleveland fell in love with the accuracy there. The Seahawks obviously fell in love with the athletic ability of Jalen Hurts, so they went that way. That's why it was weird to me, and I think he'll be an okay backup in the NFL. It was weird to me that the Eagles took Kyle McCord because it seems like if Kyle McCord comes in a game, they have to change their whole offense. That seemed weird to me, the pick.
Well, they had Pickett as their backup last year.
True.
So I don't see a ton of difference.
Pickett's a little more mobile, though, than Kyle.
Yeah, really, Will felt more makes sense for Philly than
you can't
Kyle
really push with. Yeah.
Yeah, Will's got that type of size, so that would seem to be the fit on it. I think I did see this. I forgot about this, but Gabriel actually broke the speed test at the Senior Bowl of the hardest velocity on throws. He was better than Josh Allen, I think, had held that record. And he actually, I don't know what that means or how you quantify it, but he broke the record of in terms of velocity that the ball was thrown at the Senior Bowl. So, but yeah, I think all of these guys, your job is now to support. I think the two guys in Cleveland, those are two, you hope you hit the lottery with them. And you take swings at a position that's the most important that you haven't hit at in a long time. I commend their idea here and the idea of getting two swings at it. And until you have one, keep drafting them. To me, that makes all the sense in the world from their perspective. We'll get some perspective on where the Buckeyes landed, the fits. Austin Ward's known these kids since they were high schoolers in many instances. He'll join us in 2 minutes. Bishop and Friends right here on The Fan.
Welcome to Tire Discounters. Oh, hiya, Phantom.
Mike, I think I saw a fox on my way in.
Oh, that was the Carfax Carfox. He was congratulating us on our Carfax Top-Rated Service Center Award.
I have always rated Tire Discounters at the very top.
Oh, thanks. So does Carfax, and not just for tires, but for all our services, too.
Alignment, brakes, shocks, and struts, and more.
Yes, sir.
But, Mike, do you think people believe Carfax over me?
Well, you are the Phantom tire buyer.
Exactly.
Colin
Common Man here for Weed Man. I always have the greenest lawn in the neighborhood. It's luscious. I swear by two things, water and Weed Man. Weed Man is locally owned and operated by Corbin and Audrey. They will make sure your lawn is weed-free and looking gorgeous. Of course, they get rid of weeds, but they also do aeration, mosquito control, grub control, crabgrass prevention, and flea and tick control for your four-legged friends. For a free quote, give them a call, 614-733-3747, weedmanusa.com. Tell them Common Man sent you.
Buy now with pre-tariff pricing at Coughlin Kia. Lease a new 2025 Kia K4, just $195 a month plus taxes and fees. Or choose low 1.9% financing for 60 months on a new 2025 Kia Sportage or Sorrento. Visit CoughlinKia.com.
Coughlin has the car for you.
1.9% for 60 months equals $18.37 per 1,000 with approved credit through Kia Motor Finance. 24-month lease, 10,000 miles per year, 20 cents per mile over. 2025 due. Excludes $250 dock fee, $400 disposition fee at lease end. No security deposit. See dealer for details and 43025.
Common Man here for Jermaine Lexus of Dublin and Easton. Guess what? It's driving season, friends, and my friends at Jermaine Lexus are ready for you with their most popular models on the lot and ready to go with special APRs as low as 3.99%, up to 48 months, or 4.49%, up to 60 months with low lease payments starting at $389 per month on the 2025 NX. And if you're looking for a TX, they're finally available for immediate delivery. Jermaine Lexus, 2 locations to serve you, Dublin and Easton, JermaineLexus.com.
Bishop and Friends is sponsored by Diamond Seller, your true jeweler for over 75 years. The Fan, Ohio sports destination.
He knows everything about the Buckeyes. He's been offered tens of dollars by a certain team to spill his secrets. He's told that certain team to go to hell.
Damn you all to hell!
He's Austin Ward.
Indeed he is, and he joins on the Brian Heating Cooling Systems Fan Guest Hotline. 14 Buckeyes selected, a handful more in free agency as well have already signed. As you're watching the draft, which is the spot that and the player that you're like, oh, I love that fit? Where did that happen for you? And maybe happened a bunch of times.
Yeah, I think I'm not alone when it's like, oh, Jack Sawyer's going to the Steelers. Well, that's a perfect fit. I mean, and not great for the Bengals or the Browns or people in Ohio to watch him go there. I mean, it feels like a natural that he's going to thrive there and make life miserable for the rest of the AFC North for like the next decade. And I think that part of it too is like, yeah, that's a lower round than maybe Jack Sawyer would have envisioned a year ago. So it's like, well, that's even great value for the Steelers. Everything lined up for it. But I think that the reason that I just like the pick, and I know that he probably didn't enjoy waiting and having to get to Saturday, but it's like that pick and a bunch of others, even JT, when he came off the board, it's like, well, they made this decision to come back. They did get a little bit of money a year ago, so they're already earning. It's changed things, but would they have traded the opportunity that they had if their draft stock dropped a little bit? They're going to be set in Columbus for the rest of their lives and have those 3 national championship rings. So I thought, when you get to the number, whether it's Jack specifically or Ty Hamilton, Tyleik Williams, some of these other guys, it's like, well, I think that was the weekend was the greatest reminder of how NIL has helped college football. And we spend so much time, Bo, on Mondays talking about portal madness and free transfers and all these things. Like the decisions for these veteran Ohio State guys, and you look on a case-by-case basis, did they all boost their draft stock? Did they all make more NFL money than they would have a year ago? And the answer may well be no, but they were making it in the short term while also getting the benefit of developing and competing for a championship and spending time together, brotherhood, all those other things that we talk about. Sometimes we miss that conversation in the value piece for these Buckeyes, but I think they are the prime example. And we also talked about this last Monday, just about, taking these decisions and how it has strengthened college football. Yes, there are things that have to get worked out elsewhere, but Ohio State really had that rolling, and it's not just about the recruiting piece. It's not just about, plugging the transfer portal holes occasionally. It really was the retention and development, and I think that this weekend was, a really shining example of that.
Well, I'll take you a step further, and I'm with you, because I think what NIL does is it allows players who are great college players to be enriched going into the league. And so, like for Will Howard dropping to the 6th round, like you'd say, okay, well, that's salary-wise, that's not a lot, but he made a good salary here. And he deserved to make a good salary here. He ended up being the face of this thing by the time, or one of the faces of it by the time it was all said and done. So, I mean, that is everything it's supposed to be. And I think actually from a developmental standpoint, probably the best example that we saw with what Ohio State did, and I'm guessing they'll try to use this as a blueprint going forward, is what happened with Quinshon Judkins and Travion Henderson. I mean, these are two guys who went probably about where they would have gone anyway, but they did so now with half the wear on the tires. They both won national championship. They both went over 1,000 yards, and they both got a lot of money in NIL. They're kind of like the blueprint. I'm wondering if Ryan Day, Mark Pantoni, everybody else who's in charge of personnel there will use that as a selling point. Hey, we had two NFL caliber starting running backs in one room, and look how it didn't hurt either one of them.
Yeah, no, I think that's certainly going to be an example. And some of this is like, you do have to wait and see, because my suspicion is that so many of these guys are going to get to second contracts now because of what we're talking about, not just the wear and tear for the running backs, but also maybe, physical development and preparation, someone like Ty Hamilton, or that I mentioned already, or Cody Simon, like spending that time, the extra year of experience, the extra year in the weight room, all the reps, everything else that they have logged at Ohio State to be ready for the next level. When they get to OTAs, when they get to minicamp, when they get to training camp, are they going to be better positioned for the grind of the NFL than they would have been a year ago? I think the answer is yes, but again, that's the part where when we're projecting that forward, we won't know for sure. But in the meantime, you can already point to Travion and Quinshon and be like, you didn't have to have 350 carries or 2,000 yards to be a second or third round draft pick and come off early. Both of these guys did that. And that's at a position where you're going to have guys, and it's sort of become in vogue to go back the other way. No more running back Zoom meetings at the NFL level. It feels like the value has been restored there. And I think that'll be easy for Ohio State to point to the way they use those two guys and the way that they're probably going to use this backfield this season.
What did you make of Will in the 6th round?
I thought it was going to be earlier for him, Bo, honestly. I thought that his level of play deserved that. But you looked at the way that, I don't want to have another Shedeur conversation because there have been more than enough of them over the last 5 days.
Sure.
But it doesn't seem like, there weren't as many teams that wanted to dip their toe into the quarterback waters in this class. And I think we can all understand why, whether the combination of this class or, I don't cover the NFL, so I just feel like what I saw from Will Howard was consistently better than a 6th-round pick, but he's going to a spot where he's going to have a chance to compete right away. What does that look like for him? I don't know, but I know that he's not shy about taking those opportunities. He's going to be incredibly confident in his abilities. Liberty was watching with one eye on it on Saturday, and she's like, I think I like the Steelers now. And I said, no. That's not the way this works. But it's a reminder of what an impression he did leave, the legacy he left in one season at Ohio State. That even my 7-year-old daughter's like, well, who's a Bengals fan and has been since she was born, is thinking, well, that's great for Will Howard. And I do think out of everywhere he could have landed, that was probably the best spot for him. Which, again, gives me a little bit of pause when I say the same thing about Jack Sawyer.
I couldn't agree with you more on Will. I mean, just look how loyal they've been to Mason Rudolph. Like, Will's going to get a real chance to be developed there. They won't run out of patience with him. I think Aaron Rodgers is going to be the starter there, so he's going to get to, kind of learn under that to see what it takes to be a pro and the way to see a game and all of that. So to me, it feels like a home run for Will Howard in terms of a landing spot. The Buckeyes have been busy. Portal closed on Monday. Got a defensive end out of North Carolina. Got an offensive lineman with Central Ohio ties over the weekend. What do you make of those two additions?
Yeah, I think certainly the impact there for Bo Atkinson has a chance to be really important for Ohio State. I thought defensive tackle would be the top priority. It just doesn't seem like someone that was the right fit for checking every box has materialized at this point, and it may not. So you take another stack of chips and put it at defensive end. I think all of this is a little bit of bet on potential when you have, even though Kenyatta Jackson and Caden Curry are going into their senior year, and we had a great look at C.J. Hicks, making an impact in spring camp, and Logan George was already on the way. If you have any trepidation that all four won't fully reach their potential. You've got a guy from North Carolina with Power 4 production, one of the better players at the ACC level a year ago. It doesn't hurt to spread around a couple extra chips on the roulette wheel right there. So that feels like a safe and smart bet for Ohio State. And then, Ryan Day made it very clear, multiple times as camp was winding down that the spot that they kind of got hit in a way that they weren't anticipating or that they couldn't fully address was offensive line. He said that they were too short of where they needed to be. They got one. This is the kind of player I think that when you look at, if there were criticisms of Justin Fry, it was that maybe the recruiting net had not been wide enough. And this is maybe the kind of player that you'd be talking about here in Justin Terry. Pickerington, you're going to be safe more often than not if you tap into that pipeline. So bring home a 3-star who's not probably going to break the bank for you, has 4 years of eligibility. I think this is the kind of player that I think Ryan Day is trying to, add to the class, at least to fill out the depth. It's not someone who is going to be expected to come in and play right away, but he could play both tackle or guard. He knows what it is going to take to compete in the Woody. I think he'll be energized by that opportunity to do so. So it's another one that makes sense. I think I know that they want one more. Ryan Day's made that clear on the offensive line. They've taken some swings already. We'll see if anything else materializes there. But, we were just, sitting there holding our breath to see if what we'd said for the last month, Bo, was right, that these guys had 12-month deals in place and not 4 months. And Ohio State really escaped that part of it as well as they could. And now they're still in that process of finding if there's anything else that they need to add.
You and Berm famously went, and I believe I'm right on this, went and watched Quinn Ewers play in high school, right? Or went and,
we did, yep.
You went and interviewed him? Were you in the Cabela's room? Have you ever been in there?
No, we were in the spacious indoor facility that they had, which most places in Ohio would be jealous of what they were dealing with down there in Texas. We did not get a look at all of those animals. I heard about it because that was one of the things that the Ewers family talked about, was their compound to go hunting and why they loved Ohio so much.
Oh, so that's part of it. So do they have like one of those Texas ranches where you hunt like all sorts of animals that aren't even indigenous to the region?
There are some questions, Bo, that I just don't think I was comfortable asking. I just want that you don't know the answer. But we did. We were down there and, saw that part of where he was from and the high school stuff. And it's truly wild to me the way the Quinn Ewers collegiate journey went, dating back to the recruitment, the perfect high school recruit, the reclassification here. There's no person, and I know, I had some on and off the record conversations with his agent, 4 or 5 years ago. It's like, this guy's a unicorn and he's going to be this, he's going to be the first round pick. The way that this has transpired is kind of hard to believe. I've said before, I feel some sympathy for him that he had to be the first one at the leading edge of this and dealing with NIL. And I don't know that every decision was made in the right way for him. But even still, just watching him practice and throw balls in high school, it's like, there's no way that this guy would be a 7th round pick. But, that is the part that's up to the player to handle that part of it. And now we know how that story ended. He could have made way more money by playing somewhere in college next season. And again, if the initial conversations for him were about making the most amount of money in college, I guess I'd have to at least tip my hat to say that he didn't make that choice the second time around as his career came to a close.
No, it didn't. It's a fascinating one. It's Howard, McCord, both 6s, and then Quinn in the 7th. So it was wild to see how that all kind of went down. Appreciate your time as you give it to us every single Monday, buddy. Thanks for giving us some today.
Always. Talk to you soon, Bo.
All right, there he goes, Austin Ward, of course, covering the Buckeyes at Rivals and right here on The Fan. We hit a little thing or not a thing up next. Bishop and Friends right here on The Fan.
All the 10 TV people come over to our side of the building to take a deuce. That should tell you something about how we operate. The Fan.
Steel walk behind, zero turn, and stand on mowers are built to get the job done. Shop online or at your local Steel dealer. Steel. Let's go mow.
Discover uncompromising quality at a reliable price with Giant Eagle and Market District. Find everyday savings and bargains on produce, meat, and more. Look for signs throughout the store highlighting long-term lower prices. With our weekly sales, deals for days promotions, and My Perks loyalty program, Giant Eagle helps make the most out of every shopping trip. Surround yourself with savings at Giant Eagle and experience value like never before. Visit Giant Eagle and Market District today to see how easy it is to save.
The Roofing Guys are your locally owned, trusted family business right here in Central Ohio. They've been hammering quality and service through the roof for over 25 years, offering professional services in roofing, siding, gutters, and more. Contact them at theroofingguys.com. That's theroofingguys.com.
After I drop the kids off, I have to run across town for a meeting, hit the gym during lunch. Jake has soccer tonight, and Emily has gymnastics? Oh, did I turn on the crock pot this morning?
With a never-ending to-do list, it's easy to forget something important, like setting up a life insurance plan with Shelter Insurance. Your local Shelter agent can show you how to create a safety net for your family. Don't let life get in the way of what's most important. Visit shelterinsurance.com to learn more. Shelter Life Insurance Company, Columbia, Missouri.
So we bought an actual shopping mall and put one of the largest Honda dealerships in the world inside of it. Hi, it's Steve Lindsay with Lindsay Honda. So it's big. We house about 150 to 200 cars indoors, lit, all unlocked, ready for you to be able to view and see. A fully tempered climate. Doesn't matter if it's raining outside, 10 below zero, super hot. There's real trees inside, and it's just a casual environment. And if you haven't seen it, it's really a cool story, not about its opulence. It's just a cool story to see what was a dilapidated old mall being reinvigorated into a pillar in the community that everybody benefits from.
This month at Lindsay Honda, choose a 2025 Honda Ridgeline RTL, Honda HR-V or CR-V, and pay just $299 a month at our famous Lindsay Honda Trade-A-Thon. We'll trade for anything and give you $1,000 more for your vehicle all month long. Visit lindsayhonda.com for details.
Lanny went to college and racked up huge debt.
A little bit over $100,000.
For a degree he couldn't use? Now what?
I had a friend that went to my computer career.
They even helped him get hired immediately after graduation.
One of the things I love about IT is that you can work from anywhere you want.
You could become an IT pro in just months, including cybersecurity and the basics of AI with zero experience at mycomputercareer.edu.
It worked for me, and I know it can work for you.
This is one student's experience. Individual results vary.
Don't sweat it. Call Care Heating and Cooling, and we'll fix your air conditioner fast. 1-800-COOLING.
All your favorite and least favorite fan shows are available wherever you get your podcasts. Just type in 971 The Fan to the search bar and hit that subscribe button. It's free.
We're the land of the free and the home of the sunburnt, freckled fat guy.
Do it now.
If you're 55 and up, T-Mobile has plans built just for you. 2 lines of unlimited for just $30 a line. That's a 45% savings compared to Verizon and AT&T. But don't just take our word for it.
It's not just the savings that are great with our T-Mobile plan. There's all this value from all these other things that T-Mobile offers.
T-Mobile has been such a savings for us.
We love it. Switch today and get 2 free 5G phones like the Motorola Edge with turbo power charging that gives you power for the day in just 15 minutes. And customers 55 and up can get 2 lines of talk, text, and data for only $30 a line. Go to T-Mobile.com/55 to learn more. With 24 monthly bill credits and 2 new lines with autopay for well-qualified customers, plus taxes, fees, and $35 per line connection charge. Credits end and balance due if you pay off early or cancel. Contact us, plus $5 per line without autopay. Debit or bank account required. 45% off 2 lines versus AT&T Starter and Verizon Welcome. Plan benefits vary. See details at T-Mobile.com. Motorola Edge requires 68-watt charger. Charger sold separately. Actual performance will vary based on usage and configuration.
The Fan Poll is brought to you by Caster Connection. Visit CasterConnection.com to shop online or to work with our Caster Solution Specialists.
Connect with the show on X at 971BFS. Jump in our YouTube chat or just send a raven. You're listening to Bishop and Friends.
All right, time for a little thing or not a thing on a Monday. Hit it, fellas.
Thing or not a thing.
Sponsored by Apex Plumbing Pros.
On Sunday, it was revealed that Jax Ulbrich, the 21-year-old son of Falcons defensive coordinator Jeff Ulbrich, was behind at least one of 3 prank calls that were played on NFL draft prospects over the weekend. Jax says he was responsible for the prank call to Shadur Sanders Friday night. Ulbricht's friend made the actual prank call, but Jax was sitting next to him. He phoned Sanders on Sunday to apologize. He also issued an apology on his Instagram account. The Atlanta Falcons issued a statement explaining how he got the number. Quote, earlier in the week, Jax Ulbricht unintentionally came across the draft contact phone number for Shadur Sanders off an open iPad while visiting his parents' home and wrote the number down to later conduct a prank call. Jeff Ulbricht was unaware of the data exposure or any facets of the prank and was made aware of the above only after the fact. And quote, the other two, one to Tyler Warren, the other to an unidentified prospect, that has not been explained. Thing or not a thing?
I think it's a fireable offense for the dad.
Yeah.
I think the dad should have got fired. I think the kid's 21, so he's a man, right? But you've raised a punk. You've raised a little punk. And it's hard. I'm trying not to raise three little punks. And these kids live in a world now where jackassery on social media is viewed positively. It's the only way you can say it. Like, they look up. I see like what my kids track down, especially NBC, who's 13. Like, what he gets pushed to on social media, whether it's his Instagram or his Snap or whatever, like the type of idiocy that he is pushed to, and they view it as, hey, this is cool. Isn't this cool? Oh, dude, he got him. He really, And I guess maybe our generation was too. I mean, way long ago, you had Jerky Boys, and then you had Punked. So I guess this has always been kind of part of it. But I think it's easier now than ever to do it because everybody has a platform and everything can get seen. The idea that this kid thought was a good idea, he's in the video. He's in the video of the prank, like when they're talking about it. Like, you have failed. I say this all the time. You have failed an intellectual test. Like, this is just, you're not very bright. I mean, to me, if I were the Falcons, I'd fire the dad. I would. Go find another defensive coordinator. There's defensive coordinators everywhere. I'd fire this guy because I think his child, first of all, having it exposed at his house and then raising a kid who would think that this is a good idea, that question makes me question everything about the parent at this point. So I'm surprised that dad didn't get fired. I think he should have got fired.
I just looked up jackassery in the dictionary.com app, and it's not there. So, Bo, I think we need to petition to get that word in dictionary.com officially. But this is an incredibly, incredibly stupid thing all the way around for the dad. And I understand things happen and you trust your kid, but to leave that stuff open is just insane. I can't even check my work email on my phone without having to sign in with two different whatever that is, the word authentication, and then a code, a text message code, and this and that. It's just ridiculous. I can't believe that the NFL would be any easier with that stuff. So just a total lack of awareness by the dad. And then for the kid to do this and think he was not going to get caught while he's in the video. Like, what are we doing? Just stupid all the way around.
Failed an intelligence test. And again, I think it reflects incredibly poorly. It's funny now that, I'm so far into parenthood. When I see a kid's behavior, to me, it is a direct reflection of the parent. Direct. There's a lot of kids who are punks. I got a 7th grader. I see it. A lot of punks. To me, when I see a kid punk, I just look at the parents and go, what are you doing? What are you doing?
You're letting this happen.
You've let it happen. So this got, to me, the dad, Jeff Ulbricht, he raised a kid who's a punk. And that's on him. And to me, that says a lot about him.
The Washington Commanders and District of Columbia have reached a deal for a new stadium at RFK. Team posted a video earlier today announcing the news. It was their home from 1961 until 1996. RFK still stands. Terms of the deal have not yet been announced, though multiple outlets reported that it would cost about $3 billion or more than that. The Commanders' new owner, Josh Harris, said he'd like to open a new stadium in 2030. Washington's had a contract with Maryland to play at their stadium currently until early in 2027, but because the team owns the stadium and the land, it can extend the deal until a new one's built. Josh Harris grew up in Maryland, but is a Commanders fan. Made it clear the day he bought the team how much going to games at RFK meant to him. Thing or not a thing?
Huge thing. Huge thing. Reese, do you remember at all them playing, the Redskins playing at RFK?
Nope.
Bake does. The place was a cauldron. When you heard like Summerall and Madden, RFK, Washington Redskins, I mean, that was a baller brand. That was a big-time stadium. That was a brutal place to play. There was a look of it that was specific. It was easy to get to for folks around the district. Ask Jim Lachey about playing at RFK next time you see him and about what that was all about for him and for that organization. So I think this is a massive thing to do it. Just so I'm clear on this, in the one sentence here, I thought I heard you say play a contract with Maryland. You mean the state of Maryland, right? Like they're not going to play at the University of Maryland?
No, this is the state, yeah.
Yeah, so this is their the big stadium that they built in Landover, which is a dump. I mean, it's brutal. They made it way too big. It's been an absolute dump. Here's the other thing that's a really cool thing about this, guys. This is what happens when bad ownership is forced out. Because Dan Snyder would not have gotten this done. There's no way Dan Snyder gets this done. This is something that was done because of the new ownership, because of their own deep pockets and what they're able to do. Did you hear the details on what the city is going to have to pay for this? Have we seen anything on that? That I'll be curious about. I'm guessing this will follow more like the Browns' plans in Brook Park, where the majority will be paid for by ownership and a small amount will be paid by the city. That's my hunch.
Yeah, I can't remember the numbers when we talked about this last week, but it was an exorbitant amount by the ownership. They were going to pay I think it was like $2.5 billion of the $3 billion, and then the city was going to put in $500 and the other $550 million or whatever it was. This is a tremendous thing, right?
Yeah.
Like we talk about this all the time. We lose a lot of traditions in sports. And RFK was one of the great traditions. I remember Dexter Manley and Art Monk and Lachey and Jacoby and all of those guys. Like it was John Riggins, of course, a little before my time. But it's a tremendous thing. And it's pretty cool that this guy was a fan growing up and has now been able to become an owner and wants to get it back to what it used to be.
So it looks like the NBC affiliate in D.C. is reporting that the district would invest $850 million of taxpayer money towards the infrastructure. They want to make it. They want to make it a Super Bowl ready arena.
A little more than we had thought.
So I wonder if they'll dome it. Super Bowl ready tells me they'll dome it. That's what I would think.
Yeah, nothing.
Do that. Yeah. The key on that will be who has the overages, because this will go above $3 billion by the time it's built. For sure. So that'll be something to watch for as well. I also heard that they're not going to rebrand. They're going to stay Commanders, but I think they're going to go back to a Redskins look with their helmets and uniforms and all of that. So I think there's a path here for this to be a pretty cool thing for that franchise. Your last thing we're going to do at 11:20 because it's the craziest damn thing I saw all weekend. So that's your tease for your 11:20. That's the craziest thing I saw all weekend is coming up at 11:20. Truly,
it's so good.
It's nuts. We'll blitz the weekend coming up next. Bishop and Friends right here on the Fan.
Matty Ice has a large tattoo on his calf of LeBron eating a lion. I have nothing else to say. Rothman and Ice.
Weekdays from noon to 3.
The Fan.
When you're on the go, every minute counts. Meijer Home Delivery and Pickup helps you make the most of every second. Get all your weekly shopping done online, quickly and easily, from wherever you are, whenever you want. Have your Meijer order delivered to your home by the service awarded #1 in grocery delivery. Or pick it up yourself while out and about, whatever works for your schedule. The good life is in reach with Meijer Home Delivery and Pickup. See Meijer.com for details.
Feeling stressed or overwhelmed? Not sure how to get the mental health help you need? We've got your back. Call the Mental Health Insurance Assistance Office at 855-438-6442. We'll help you figure out what mental health benefits may be in your health plan. No more confusion, just the support you deserve. Call the Mental Health Insurance Assistance Office at 855-438-6442.
Hey, what's up? It's T-Bone for Window Nation. April's a great time to spruce up around your house, like getting rid of those old, ugly, drafty, hard-to-open windows and starting fresh. Especially during Window Nation's Buy 4, Get 4 free sale going on now. There's no limit to how much you could save, and if you buy a house full of windows, they'll include a free entry door, too. Plus, with 0% financing, 0 down, and no monthly payments, you could get new windows and pay nothing until 2027. How do they do it? Well, Window Nation partners with the top window manufacturers in the nation to build windows to their high-quality specs. Then they pass the savings on to you. You'll protect your home with some of the best windows you can buy at a fraction of the price of those other brands. Just imagine what you could do with all that extra money. Hurry, the sale ends soon, so don't miss your chance to take advantage of the buy 4, get 4 free and pay nothing until 2027. Schedule your estimate right now at 866-90NATION or visit windownation.com. One more time, that's buy 4, get 4 free from Window Nation, 866-90NATION or windownation.com.
Breaking news, and this one is almost unbelievable.
Yeah, it's all about new customers at Bet365 because they get $150 in bonus bets when they bet $5, win or lose. And even better, bonus bets can be used on the spread, totals, and player props.
There you have it. Bet $5 to get $150 in bonus bets, win or lose. And see why it's never ordinary at Bet365. 21 plus only. Must be physically located in Ohio. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. T&Cs apply.
Save big on everything for your next project at Menards. Rust-Oleum Stops Rust 5-in-1 spray paint lets you choose from 5 unique spray patterns with a twist of the dial. Use it on a wide range of wood or metal projects for long-lasting results. Choose from over 50 color options available now at Menards. Plus, check out our weekly flyer on menards.com for all the great deals happening now.
Save big money at Menards.
Before you start your day, UDF has already started making your breakfast right in our bakery. We've got buttery, flaky croissants baked before the crack of dawn. We're making fluffy buttermilk biscuits from scratch by the time the sun starts to think about rising. And before you hit your first alarm, we've piled our biscuits and croissants high with sausage, egg, and cheese right in store. So come in and grab a fresh one and let us make you a morning person. Fresh baked breakfast sandwiches from United Dairy Farmers. UDF, mornings made for you.
1-877 Cars for Kids. KARS Cars for Kids. 1-877 Cars for Kids. Donate your car today.
Donate today at carsforkids.org. That's cars with a K. Your car can be picked up as soon as the next day. Receive a tax deduction and vacation voucher.
1-877 Cars for Kids. Donate your car today.
Now accepting donations of land, homes, buildings, or any kind of real estate.
Vivid Seats is your ultimate destination for basketball and hockey this season. With a game-changing rewards program and an unbeatable selection of tickets, they make it easy for every fan to watch their favorite teams and players in action. Catch every one-timer and buzzer-beating 3 live and in person from your favorite seat. Plus, every ticket is backed by a 100% buyer guarantee, giving you peace of mind with every purchase. Don't miss out. Visit vividseats.com or download the app today. Vivid Seats, the official ticketing partner of ESPN.
Thy ticket, Lady Jennifer of Coolidge.
Well, many thanks, good sir. Here'th my Discover card.
They accept Discover at Renaissance fairs?
Yeah, they do here. Discover is accepted at the places I love to shop. Getteth with the times.
With the times?
You're playing the lute. Yeah, and it sounds pretty good, right?
Discover is accepted at 99% of places that take credit cards nationwide. Based on the February 2024 Nielsen report.
Broadcasting from the Lindsay Honda Studios.
Honda makes the cars. Lindsay makes the difference. Visit lindsayhonda.com.
WBNS-FM, HD1 Columbus. The Fan. Sports Center.
Good morning, I'm Eric Reeser. The Cincinnati Reds are on a bit of a heater. Redlegs broke out the brooms in Colorado over the weekend, taking all 3 games in their series with the Rockies. Reds are on a 4-game win streak and are back at Great American Ballpark tonight to begin a 3-game series with the Cardinals. First pitch there is 6:40. You can hear that game over on ESPN Columbus. As for the Guardians, Cleveland was smoked by Boston 13-3 on Sunday. Red Sox took 2 in the 3-game series. Guardians are 15-12 overall. They'll host the Minnesota Twins tonight at 6:10. In the minors, the Clippers have a dime-a-dog doubleheader tomorrow at Huntington Park. Tuesday's first pitch against the St. Paul Saints is 5:05. And in the NBA tonight, the Cavaliers can sweep out the Heat with a win in Miami in Game 4 of their first-round series. Tip-off from South Beach is 7:30. Cavs smash the Heat by 37 in Game 3. Out West Monday, Warriors host the Rockets in Game 4. Golden State leads there 2-1. Breaking sports news when it happens on The Fan, Ohio's sports destination.
First Friday miracles are always better with Uncle Bo. This is Bishop and Friends.
All right, final hour here on a Monday. Tyvis Powell going to join in 28 minutes from now. Between now and then, though, we blitz the weekend. Hit it, fellas.
Bishop and Friends present a weekend sports blitz.
Sponsored by High Bank Distillery, home of the best blended whiskey in America. Grab a bottle or dine in at their 3 restaurant locations, Grandview, Gahanna, and now in Westerville. Drink local. Drink High Bank.
A lot going on over the last 4 days with the draft and everything that went into the weekend. I believe I had that. What did you have, Beck?
I believe I don't know if I had that they would, but I believe I had that the Cleveland Browns should trade back out of number 2. And I even thought that Mason Graham would be the guy that I would take. I actually thought once they did it that they were going to trade back again with like the Chicago Bears, because I thought the Bears would want to come up and get Ashton Genty. And there was some reporting. Maybe those talks were going on. Maybe they weren't. Who knows? But I thought Mason Graham was the safest player in the draft. I really did. And I'm glad that Cleveland took him. I'm glad they traded back, got the picks. It seemed like I don't know if it was the Godfather deal, but it was pretty darn close. And I'm happy that the Browns did that.
I had that NBA officials are terrible and have no incentive to get any better. So there was 2 games yesterday that were decided by incompetent officiating, at least in my opinion. You had Game 4 of the Knicks and Pistons series. Basically, Tim Hardaway Jr. had a go-ahead 3 opportunity to make nearly at the buzzer, and Josh Hart just ran into him, and they didn't call it at all. And J.B. Bickerstaff lamented that after the game. And in that situation, you have to call something there because of what it means to the game. In terms of the Lakers and the Timberwolves, LeBron, I thought, made a really good defensive play on Anthony Edwards to force the ball out of bounds. You don't call it in that situation. They reviewed it, gave Ant the pair of free throws, and then I think took a Lakers timeout.
I don't know if they took the Lakers. No, the Lakers didn't have a timeout.
Okay.
But they finally showed that view from above, like the freeze frame, and they show him hitting the hand. And it's like, is this what we're doing?
Considering like Mike Conley had a block on LeBron, that there was a ton of contact before the block. And it's like, all right, cool. I'm cool with you not calling that. Make it be a physical game. And you're going to call that there is awful, in my opinion.
Yeah. Did the Pistons not have a challenge? Is that how that wasn't looked at?
Yeah, I think so.
Jeez, I hate it. I hate the replay stuff, and I hate how long it takes to get it done. It just sucks. I believe I had Jack Sawyer to Pittsburgh. I mean, I think we said that as soon as they won the national title. I know we weren't crazy about putting it into the atmosphere, but it just seemed like a fait accompli that's where he would end up, and sure enough, he did. He'll fit in there well, and he will be very good there. Also had Q to the Browns. I thought that made a lot of sense with Quinshawn. We mentioned that Friday on the show, that would be a lot of sense for the Browns in the second round. Didn't have it. What didn't you have, Bake?
I did not have that Shedeur would fall out of the first round, let alone all the way into the 5th round. I just figured with the trend we've seen in the NFL the past decade, in the run on quarterbacks that we get, that there was no way. I didn't think he was falling past 9 in the Saints. I really didn't. Once the whole Derek Carr injury news came out, I thought there's no way he got past 9, whether it be the Saints or somebody trading up in front of the Saints to get him. And the NFL told us this weekend that they really didn't think this quarterback class was all that great. And it was a total reversal of what we've seen.
Yeah, and we had said that as much on Friday, and despite saying that, like, I still thought there was going to be a quarterback run sometime. I thought, what was it, the Seahawks who took Jalen Milroe at the 92nd pick, and then the Browns, Dylan Gabriel at 94. I thought that's when the run would happen, when you'd start to see some quarterbacks go, every couple of picks or every other pick, or what the Giants did to trade back into the round to get a quarterback. Didn't happen. Blew that one, but I just think, again, to Baker's point, to your point earlier, this quarterback class, not great. And what the hell are they going to do next year with some of these quarterbacks?
Well, I don't know. That's the one thing you see people say, "Oh, wait till next year's draft." For what?
Who?
Drew Aller? Like, I don't know. Maybe he will be. Who knows on this? That's the big thing. I did not have the Browns trading out of pick number 2. I thought if they were going to trade out of 2, that it would be potentially a player coming back. I think that when you sit back, though, and as we started the show today, I said, if you were to say you're getting all of this and a first-round pick next year, most Browns fans would have said, yeah, absolutely. I did not have that they wouldn't draft a offensive tackle or a wide receiver. I thought they would have done both of those things. They didn't do either. But I think there were plenty of things that they did do that made a lot of sense, just didn't have the way that they were going to go about it. Player who impressed this weekend for you, Bake?
So I hope this does not affect my standing on the show, Bo, but our very own Jeff Tito Thidoff impressed me the most this weekend. So Scotty Vegas, Tito, and myself traveled up to Centerburg Saturday night for this. It was the second year of this Sports Trivia Cup that these people were putting on up there this weekend. We were there. Scotty Vegas has some ideas with some trivia stuff maybe in the fall with OSU, so he wanted to go check this thing out. And it was actually pretty cool. It was like a whole TV production they did. Dennis Hobson, Phillip Rivers, Ted Ginn Jr., they were all there in attendance participating in this thing. Yes, it was insane. But we got put at this table. There's 10 people at a table, and there's 9 rounds of sports trivia. Right. And our table ended up winning the whole thing, and Jeff Tito Thidoff was kind of the MVP of the table. There were a lot of times I knew the answers, but Tito had already written them down on our pad, and he was really good. The only person I think that could have done better was Mark the Shark.
What did you guys get for winning?
So I don't think since we were guests of this event that we won the grand prize, but we ended up getting these pretty cool baseball bats that they had designed with the Sports Trivia Cup on there. And they did let us bring the trophy into the station yesterday so we could have it up for the YouTube while we were all on air.
All right. This is what you have to do for talking that much glowingly about Thidoff. Baseball bat to his left knee.
Done.
On this, that's way too much Thidoff praise.
I'm sure his kid's already done it.
That's probably true.
Or they're plotting it. I was impressed with the Cavs. You don't have Darius Garland in Game 3, and you still hand the Miami Heat, a tremendously successful franchise over the last 25 years, their worst playoff loss ever.
Yeah, didn't see that coming. Not like that. Anthony Edwards is the kids say he's him. That's who he is. That was. I'm taking the league now. Everybody else get the hell out of the way. I mean, he was unbelievable. He has been in this whole series, but what he did yesterday was a stunning thing to behold with LeBron and Luka, and just really no answer for it. Player who disappointed, Vic.
To me, it's a whole team here. It's the Colorado Rockies, and I knew they were bad. I didn't realize they were that bad. They are 4-23. On the season so far, and I didn't watch a ton of the Reds' sweep of them this weekend, but what I did watch, bad defense, bad pitching, bad hitting, it was just atrocious.
Are they tanking for Arch Manning too?
They must be. They're tanking for something.
Yeah.
I was disappointed in the Heat. Cavs didn't have Darius Garland. He just quit. That was embarrassing by Miami. I don't know if they no-show Game 4 tonight, but yikes. For an Eric Spoelstra team.
You don't see that out of them.
That's bad.
I think the Cavs are 8.5-point favorites in that game, too, so that kind of tells you what everybody thinks is going to happen. Mother Nature let us down bigly. We spent the entire weekend at Cedar Point, which allowed us to go up to the lake on Saturday, which helped. But at the same time, fellas, it was 48, windy, no sun all day long up there on Saturday. Now, Sunday was fine for NBC's games, but Bootsy and Beamsy froze. 48, no sun, wind, suck. That's a heavy dose of suck. So bad job out of Mother Nature up there. Bud Kilmer, honorary coach of the week. Who do you got?
To me, it's Derek Johnson. It's the Reds pitching coach. I know the Reds have some talented pitchers in Hunter Green, Nick Lodolo, Brady Singer, and whatnot. But the Reds, they're second this season so far in opponents' batting average, second in whip allowed. They're tied for third in the least amount of hits allowed, fifth in walks, and tied for eighth in ERA. We're getting to see the fruits of drafting some of these young, talented pitchers.
I'm going to assume at one point Jim Lachey coached Luke Lachey. I don't necessarily know exactly when.
I think that's a safe assumption, yeah.
But for Luke to be drafted in the NFL, he went in the 7th round, 255th was the number of his selection to the Texans. It's a great job by Dad. Your kid got drafted.
Yep.
That's so awesome for the Lachey family. Congratulations.
Yeah, really.
And the RFK Stadium news. Good 48 hours for Jim Lachey.
It's a big time for Jim Lachey. I'm going to go Chris Fowler on this. You say, well, why? Chris Fowler had nothing to do with the draft telecast. So we're flipping channels last night, and NBC says to me, Dad, put on the polo. All right. So I put on the polo.
Wait.
It was actual horse polo.
And mallets?
Mallets and horses. And so he said, okay. So it apparently was this thing called the U.S. Polo Championships, U.S. Open Polo Championships. So I'm watching it, and I hear a familiar voice. Chris Fowler was hosting it. Like, what can't the dude do? What can he do? He's hosting polo now, too. Good Lord. Good job out of him. All right, coming up next, the most bizarre story of the weekend, quite honestly. Let's leave it at that. We'll get to it next. Bishop and Friends right here on The Fan.
We know everything about you. We know you love the Buckeyes. We know you love the Jackets. We know you're wearing a red shirt. I just freaked the hell out of someone. The Fan.
Hey, what's up? It's T-Bone. You know, my wife and I picked out a beautiful A-frame porch swing with a nice covering on it. We can sit out, get shade from the sun, watch our kids play in the backyard. We're reclaiming our backyard, and we're doing that with Getchy's Amish Country Furnishings in Dublin. You can do that, too. Their spring open house event runs now through April 19th. Some of the best savings of the year on poly furniture, play sets for the kiddos, whatever you need to complete your outdoor space, you'll find it at Getchy's in Dublin. You can also see the selection at AmishCountryFurnishings.com. Once again, that's AmishCountryFurnishings.com.
Feeling stressed or overwhelmed? Not sure how to get the mental health help you need? We've got your back. Call the Mental Health Insurance Assistance Office at 855-438-6442. We'll help you figure out what mental health benefits may be in your health plan. No more confusion, just the support you deserve. Call the Mental Health Insurance Assistance Office at 855-438-6442.
If you're 55 and up, T-Mobile has plans built just for you. 2 lines of unlimited for just $30 a line. That's a 45% savings compared to Verizon and AT&T. But don't just take our word for it.
It's not just the savings that are great with our T-Mobile plan. There's all this value from all these other things that T-Mobile offers.
T-Mobile has been such a savings for us.
We love it. Switch today and get 2 free 5G phones like the Motorola Edge with Turbo Power charging that gives you power for the day in just 15 minutes. And customers 55 and up can get 2 lines of talk, text, and data for only $30 a line. Go to T-Mobile.com/55 to learn more. With 24 monthly bill credits and 2 new lines with autopay for well-qualified customers plus taxes, fees, and $35 per line connection charge. Credits end and balance due if you pay off early or cancel. Contact us plus $5 per line without autopay. Debit or bank account required. 45% off 2 lines versus AT&T Starter and Verizon Welcome. Plan benefits vary. See details at T-Mobile.com. Motorola Edge requires 68-watt charger. Charger sold separately. Actual performance will vary based on usage and configuration.
Hey, what's up? It's T-Bone for Window Nation. April's a great time to spruce up around your house, like getting rid of those old, ugly, drafty, hard-to-open windows and starting fresh, especially during Window Nation's Buy 4, Get 4 free sale going on now. There's no limit to how much you could save, and if you buy a house full of windows, they'll include a free entry door, too. Plus, with 0% financing, 0 down, and no monthly payments, you could get new windows and pay nothing until 2027. How do they do it? Well, Window Nation partners with the top window manufacturers in the nation to build windows to their high-quality specs. Then they pass the savings on to you. You'll protect your home with some of the best windows you can buy at a fraction of the price of those other brands. Just imagine what you could do with all that extra money. Hurry, the sale ends soon, so don't miss your chance to take advantage of the Buy 4, Get 4 free and pay nothing until 2027. Schedule your estimate right now at 866-90NATION or visit windownation.com. One more time, that's Buy 4, Get 4 free from Window Nation, 866-90NATION or windownation.com.
Hello, radio listeners. The Fan is debuting a new lineup on May 12th. T-Bone and Tyvis hitting leadoff at 6. Bishop and Friends stays at 9. That's not new. Rothman and Ice at noon. You already knew that. Common Man and Timmy at 3. That's slightly different. Even more inappropriate, if that's possible. And Beamer is the new host of The Buckeye Show. You're welcome. Or we're sorry. Pick one. Get all the details at 971thefan.com.
Have you ever told a friend?
Oh, I'm fine.
When you really felt?
Just so overwhelmed.
Or sent a text?
Can't sleep. Are you awake?
When you couldn't find the words to say?
I'm scared to be alone with my thoughts right now.
Then this is your sign to reach out to the 988 Lifeline for 24/7 free confidential support. You don't have to hide how you feel. Text, call, or chat anytime.
Hello, it's John Kozik, founder and president of TurboTrack Realty. Do you want to sell your property, however, you need a little help getting through the process? Let's say you have years of belongings in the home. It needs a lot of updating, you're overwhelmed, and you may need help finding a place to go. I will help you. Visit us today at TurboTrackRealty.com or call me now for an all-cash offer and, more importantly, the help you need at 614-470-2000, 614-470-2000.
We've all been there. You come home after a long day only to find water dripping from the ceiling. Your roof has decided it's had enough, and now frustration sets in. Another unexpected problem added to your never-ending to-do list. At Newman Roofing, we get it. That's why we make the process simple and stress-free, handling every detail with professionalism, so you don't have to worry and can get back to the things that matter most to you. So, how do you begin? Step 1. Schedule your free estimate by calling our office at 614-NEW-ROOF or visiting our website, newmanroofing.com. Step 2. Meet with one of our trusted representatives who will guide you through the best plan for your home. Step 3. We get to work, and you watch your roof transform before your very eyes. Whether it's your roof, gutters, or siding, the Newman Roofing team is here to guide and support you every step of the way. Call today at 614-NEW-ROOF to schedule your free estimate and experience the Newman Roofing difference. Don't just get a new roof, get a Newman roof.
Fan weather.
From the Logan AC and Heat Services Weather Center.
Fantastic start to the work week. Afternoon highs will be in the low 80s with plenty of sun, turning into mostly clear skies overnight and lows in the 60s. For Tuesday, we'll start off dry, but then chances of showers develop with strong to severe storms possible late afternoon to early evening. Breezy winds and afternoon highs in the low 80s. For the Fan, I'm meteorologist Meredith Garfolo with your 10 weather impact forecast.
Question from a listener: do you dopes ever get tired of talking about Ohio State? No. The Buckeye Show.
Weeknights at 6.
The Fan. After putting up with Tom Tiberi for a decade, the broadcast gods gave Bo these two. This is Bishop and Friends.
We've talked about this a little bit over the course of the last, 6 months or so. Probably started with the idea that Bill Belichick was going to coach at North Carolina. That was strange, right? It was strange when he hired Mike Lombardi to be his general manager. That was strange because Mike Lombardi has no experience in college football, none. And it was strange when they came out and said, "Oh yeah, we're gonna run North Carolina like an NFL operation." Yeah, everybody does that. They've been doing that for 20 years. There is nothing new about any of that. To me, it felt like there were times that I think it was fair to say, and Urban's even admitted as much, that when he took the Jacksonville Jaguars job, he really didn't know the day-to-day how the NFL worked, the way that perhaps in retrospect he wishes that he had. I think the same about Belichick. He has no idea what's been going on in college football over the last decade or so, and thought that he would just be able to take that in there. And I thought all of that was strange. Now, you can understand why he did some of the things he did. Maybe there wasn't an NFL offer out there. I think that's fair to say, that there wasn't anything in the NFL that an NFL team was interested in him. I think the same with Lombardi, right? You want to be surrounded by your friends. So you can kind of explain away the strange on a lot of it. And I think you could explain away the strange on the fact that Bill Belichick is dating a 24-year-old. You can explain away that too, because he's an older man, and here is a 20. He is unfettered. He is not with wife, and here is a 24-year-old, and away we go. It's weird. I think it's the minimum for most people about it, but I think most people say, well, okay, I get it. I understand it. And from her perspective, perhaps too. One of the things that I was always curious about is, how the hell did these two hook up? How did this happen? Turns out we weren't alone. So CBS Sunday Morning is, for the uninitiated, probably the best news magazine show that's still out there. Long form interviews, stories that paint the picture of what's going on in Americana. It's been this for a while, but it's kind of the weekend Sunday AM edition of 60 Minutes. It's not as hard hitting, but it usually has these long form interviews and such in it. And it's been appointment viewing for a lot of people for a long time. So Belichick was on CBS Sunday Morning, and he was doing so to promote his new book, The Art of Winning. That was the objective. We'll get into that a little bit, and if that landed the plane or not. But what did land the plane, and what's gone viral this weekend, is that during the interview that he did with Tony Dokoupil of CBS, he was asked about Jordan Hudson, the 24-year-old girlfriend. Here is the interaction.
You have Jordan right over there, everybody in the world seems to be following this relationship. They've got an opinion about your private life. It's got nothing to do with them, but they're invested in it. How do you deal with that?
Never been too worried about what everybody else thinks. Just try to do what I feel like is best for me and what's right.
How did you guys meet?
Not talking about this.
No?
No.
And her face, oh my gosh, it could kill.
Before Tony had asked the question, there was like voiceover over B-roll of her like prepping Bill. And he had mentioned that, Jordan was a constant presence during the interview. And so the interviewer and the interviewee are seated on high chairs facing each other. And she's off camera next to a producer. And as soon as that question happens and she says, we're not talking about this, it cuts to her. And she's just, she's like shooting lasers out of her eyes at him.
Mm-hmm.
And the strangest sequence I've seen in an interview segment. I'm taking my talents to South Beach.
I'll tell you, I think it's the strangest thing all weekend. I think it's the strangest thing in a while. I think you kind of go, wait, what is going on? Like, you know that she's been given access to everything in the North Carolina program. You know that you saw those videos of spring game where she's just walking up and putting mics on him and all of this stuff. It's almost like he's hired her to be his ambassador of cool, kind of. Like, you help me younger people identify with me. I get the physical part from him. I get it. I don't from her, but I get it from him. So, okay, fine. Everyone can kind of wrap their heads around how that happened. But the idea, I will say this. I think CBS did him a little dirty here. Okay? And here's why. They had a camera on her. So they must have known that or at least thought there was a chance that she was going to speak up while this interview was taking place, and because they had it, and they clearly had her mic'd.
Well, they probably booked the interview through her.
You're probably right, but they had her on camera. They had a camera behind Belichick shooting through the interview to her. Like, she's in it the whole time, and he makes reference to that. So I don't know if her feeling was, hey, Belichick's available, but you can't ask about me and us and all of it. Bill's available, but you can't ask about. That's one of the preconditions of the interview. And CBS said, actually, no, we'll ask about whatever we want. We're CBS.
What's so weird about that particular question, Bo, is she explained all of it on her Instagram, just like back in February. She talked about them meeting on a plane, and he commented on the book she was reading, the textbook she was reading, because she was a student at Harvard, I believe it was. And they were on a flight from Massachusetts to Florida together. He made a comment on her textbook, and they exchanged contact information, and he signed the book and all of that. But she just 2 months ago put all of this out there for the world, and now she's like, nope, can't do it.
Because how much of that CBS audience is even on Instagram? Like the audience that watches CBS Sunday mornings.
That cross
different age range,
like 5% of the total audience. Like
that cross section is small.
How it's strange to me because he's not booking the interview, she's booking the interview, she's doing the press tour for the book. Like, that's going to be a question. It almost seems, and I'll put my tinfoil hat on, she's wanting all of this attention.
Yeah,
that comes with we're not talking about that.
1,000%.
Yeah,
of course. Yeah, I think that's probably that's her win in this, right? Is that side of it. That's probably her win in it. I mean, to me, that makes all the sense in the world. I think it's one of the crazy stories ever. Fellas, he is in a Navy crew neck hood sweatshirt.
Oh, they had matching Navy outfits on.
With holes. Yeah. His had like holes in it, so it was maybe one that he passed on from his dad. I don't why in the hell is he not in a North Carolina hoodie? Why is he in a Navy hoodie? Like, isn't he supposed to be selling North Carolina? So I didn't understand that side of it either. It's the strangest interaction. And folks, if you have not seen the video of it's even stranger than the audio. Because he's old, like he is not charming. He's old Belichick. He's like on to the Bengals. Belichick. We're on to Cincinnati. That's who he is in this entire thing. There's no charisma. There's no salesmanship. There's no, hey, wouldn't you want to be a part of it? There's none of that. He's very short with it. So what's the point of it then? Strange.
I guess credit for both of them. You know, he gets to. I don't know, man.
Strange, man. Very strange. Watch the video if you haven't. It's gone viral. The audio doesn't do it justice. The video is even stranger.
And if you're really a UNC booster, if you're someone who cut a check to get Belichick to Chapel Hill.
Yeah. Crazy. All right, Tyvis is going to join us in 2 minutes on everything NFL draft. You have that to look forward to, which is always very, very nice. Bishop and Friends right here on The Fan.
Get your air conditioner fixed fast. Call Care Heating and Cooling, 1-800-COOLING.
Thinking about buying your first home? Now, with Third Federal, you can buy your first home and pay no PMI. Hi, I'm Mark Stefanski, Chairman and CEO of Third Federal. Private mortgage insurance, or PMI, can cost thousands of dollars over the life of your loan. And you may not realize PMI doesn't protect you. It only protects the lender in case of default. But at Third Federal, you can buy a home with just 5% down and no PMI. Plus, first-time home buyers get $750 off a closing cost. So if you're thinking about buying your first home, go for it and visit thirdfederal.com.
Even before you find a home, lock in 6.625%, APR 6.685% on a 30-year fixed-rate purchase mortgage. Visit thirdfederal.com or call 1-800-3rd-FED today. APR reflects 15% down for $350,000 loan amount. Rate requires automatic payment program and is subject to change. Restrictions apply. See conditions for closing cost coupon at thirdfederal.com/FTHB. Equal housing lender.
Hey guys, don't waste time and money with low-quality online TRT that charges you over $100 just to start. Visit the TRT experts today at Low T Center for a free consultation and free test. The treatment is personalized to your body, and most major insurance is accepted. And you'll get the freedom to choose if you want in-center care or at-home treatment. Looking to lose weight? Get a free B12 shot when you start prescription treatment. The offer is limited, so book now at fixmylowt.com. That's fixmylowt.com.
Now at White Castle, you can get 12 chicken rings for just $3.99. Tender on the inside, crispy on the outside. Choose from classic or our new Cheddar Blast flavor made with real cheddar cheese. White Castle. Follow your crave. Limited time only at participating castles. Tax not included.
Bishop and Friends is sponsored by Diamond Seller, your true jeweler for over 75 years. The Fan, Ohio sports destination.
Pull up a stool and ask the bartender for something neat, because Uncle Bo is on the radio. This is Bishop and Friends.
Indeed it is. And starting May 12th, he will precede us. T-Bone and Tyvis starting Monday, May 12th, 6 to 9, right here on The Fan. Have you thought about, Mr. Powell, what your get-up routine is going to be yet?
You know, Bo, it's funny you asked this question because I've been thinking about it for about 3 weeks now, how I'm going to do this. Yeah. And it makes me think, when you think about 6 a.m. start times, now I'm trained for this because when you play football, especially at The Ohio State University, 6 o'clock seems to be a very popular time. So my body is going to be used to getting up. Okay. I look at it like 4:45. It's like a 20-minute drive for me. So I'll get here roughly 5:15, 5:20, you know, sit here, talk with T-Bone for a little bit, and then it's showtime, baby. 6 o'clock is showtime. It's time to wake people up like Folgers.
So let me ask you this. When's your go-to-bed time?
So right now I'm going to sleep at 11 o'clock. I think I'm gonna just up it up 1 hour, 10 o'clock.
10.
Yeah.
Okay, so lights out at 10 and then up at 4:45.
Correct.
Okay. So you're in the, what's that, 6:45? You're almost 7 hours.
Yeah, you only need 6. Me, a guy like me, I only need 4.
4?
I only need 4. 4 is good enough. I'll get it done with 4. I'm fired up. I'm ready to go.
What did you make? You were on the Cleveland Browns radio network on Thursday, right? Were you back on Friday or just Thursday?
No, I did just Thursday. I think Gerard did Friday and Saturday. Okay.
What was it? What was your experience like being on that radio network as they made that trade at the top of the draft?
So the thing about it is when you're there inside the building, you kind of hear all the stuff. So I kind of was prepped before the trade happened that the trade was going to happen. And when you actually see it happen, it's like, all right, you know, it's not that bad, because me and Ken and Nathan kind of talked about, you know, all right, they're trading the pick. How do we feel about that? And then it was nice to be able to voice those things. When they traded the pick, I was like, you know, I'm not all the way that mad. Like, yes, people are upset that Travis Hunter could be the Shohei Ohtani of the NFL. But the ultimately, we haven't never seen it before. There's no guarantee that he's going to check out and be that. You know, you have to. You're really rolling the dice there to where I think the Browns, you know, the trade to me was perfect because in the past 2 or 3 drafts, we haven't had a first-round pick. Maybe, and sometimes not even a second-round pick because we traded those too.
Yeah.
So when you look at this roster, there's not a whole bunch of first- and second-round talent on this roster. You're talking about a bunch of third, fourth, fifth, and undrafted guys that you are dependent on to be guys. And I think Andrew Berry and the Browns organization look like, hey, we want to get more talent on this team because the roster isn't as talented as we thought. So I thought that trade meant that they were going to be looking to do that.
So I think if I would have told you Thursday before the draft started that the Browns were going to end up with Mason Graham, Carson Schlesinger, Quinshon Judkins, Harold Fannin, Dylan Gabriel, Dylan Sampson, and Shadur Sanders, you would have said, well, that's a hell of a draft.
Yeah, I would have said, you know, where the receivers at. but outside of that, I think that, you know, you got some very good, solid football players. And I know people don't like to hear that defense wins championships, but defense wins championships. I didn't make those rules, Bo. That's just what it is. It was said way before I started playing the game.
I don't think it's true, but
it's a fact. It's a fact. Anyways, no, Mason Graham is probably the most solid player in this draft. I mean, all of us Buckeye Nation is familiar with him because of what he did to us, you know, in that rivalry game. So I was good with that pick. You put him next to Mike Hall and Myles Garrett, he'll be fine. Now, the part that I didn't appreciate is that AB, you know, after they drafted him, AB came in and we talked to him on the radio. And, you know, he tried to paint the picture that, you know, Mason Graham is this great pass rusher. And as I'm listening to him say that, I'm looking at Dane Brugler's breakdown, and it says his weakness is his pass rush. Now, it's not that big of a deal because Mike Hall is an excellent pass rusher, and Myles Garrett is an excellent pass rusher, and you missed out on Dalvin Tomlinson. Dalvin Tomlinson was perfect for stopping the run. So usually people like to have one D tackle that can rush the passer next to a pass rusher that stops the run. So it's a great pair, and I think that he'll be fine there.
What did you make of Gabriel in the 3rd and then Shedeur in the 5th?
Now, you and I are different because you and I, we like Gabriel. You know, we obviously when he was in college, when he was playing last year, you and I was doing Bishop and Friends with you. We were talking about
doing Monday and Fridays a lot.
Yeah, we were talking about how accurate this kid is and how this guy's a really good quarterback. Now, the size scares a lot of people because he's 5'11", but so was Baker. Baker might have been what? Maybe he was 6 foot, maybe?
Not much more.
Yeah, so
6 foot
it's
tops,
it's not like this. Kevin Stefanski hasn't worked with this type of quarterback before. And if you know Dylan Gabriel, did any research on him, this guy is an adult. You know, this is a guy that's a baller. All his teammates love him. He's very humble. He's not a flashy guy. This guy had a minivan, and his NIL deal was for a minivan, and he thought it was the greatest thing in the world. So he's a very humble guy, and I think that he's perfect for the Browns, actually.
So my view of it is they viewed Gabriel as their second best quarterback in this draft behind Cam Ward. If Cam Ward would have been there at 2, they would have rushed up and taken Cam Ward and not worried about it. But then after that, it became Gabriel.
Yeah.
I think the Shadur Sanders pick was a point in the draft where the first-round talent, which is what all the tape shows, that he's first. Everybody. That's why everyone was. I don't know if you heard the top of our show, buddy, but this is how I explained the Shadur Sanders. I'm curious your thoughts on it. I think if you think about Brugler, who had him, I think, 34 overall. Kuiper had him 4 overall. Jeremiah had him in the top 15. Bucky Brooks had him as the number 1 quarterback. Like, what all of those guys do is watch tape. So the tape says that at worst, he's a high second-round pick. At worst. That's what the tape shows. But that Shadur Sanders, and I think you can just draw this conclusion, this isn't paying attention to the scores, that he failed the pre-draft process.
Correct.
So I don't know if that is in the rooms with the teams, if he blew it on the whiteboard. I don't know if it was what it was.
What did you see? Did you see the report came out with the Giants about he wasn't prepared and Brian Daboll got after him and he didn't respond well? But the thing is,
that had to have been repeated throughout the league.
Well, for all those,
that experience had to be one that he took to every room because every team passed on him multiple times.
I agree. So for people that have not been through the draft process, there's 2 things that will make you drop in the draft from where you're projected. It's medical. If something medical comes up, like Will Johnson from the Wolverines, he had this knee thing, and you've seen his stock drop because of that knee thing. So if something comes up on the medical report, that can cause you to drop. The next thing is interviews. If you've interviewed with these teams and they just didn't like you or they rubbed them the wrong way, they will not pick you. It was so many times. We was talking to Jay Gruden, and Jay Gruden, the question was, has it ever been a prospect or a quarterback that you were a huge fan of in college, but when you met him, you didn't like him anymore? He said it literally happens every year. Mm-hmm. So I think when you think about Shedeur, that has to be the only logical explanation, is that, some people, he rubs some people the wrong way.
And that's why I think there's the disconnect. Because the folks that are doing the mock drafts, they're just watching tape.
Correct.
They're not interviewing him, right? Dane and the Beast, like, he'll look for background on guys and so forth and so on, and that's part of his evaluation. But a lot of those guys, like Greg Cosell, just grinds tape.
Correct.
That's all.
Like Todd McShay. Todd McShay, He meets with quarterbacks. I know he met with him before.
Yeah. So there's some guys who do it, but the guys who are up in arms about why is he falling, they're just tape grinders.
Right.
So when you get in front of the people, that's when this type of thing happens. And obviously, Shedeur was so off-putting in this spot that everybody passed on him a bunch of times. Now, the talent is there. And so from the Browns' perspective, I love it in the 5th round because it's a swing. Yeah. It's a swing at a first-round talent.
A lot of people feel like, I know you've seen the video of when they announced him and how they looked in the room. A lot of people felt like it was a Jimmy pick. And I'm not here to say yes or no on that. I don't.
I'm here to say no.
Yeah, I don't.
That's not how he runs. I know people never believe me on this, but that is not an ownership. They don't do that there.
Yeah, see, I would imagine, I'm with you. Like, if at this point it's the 5th round, it's not like we're going to get some stud out of the 5th round, but he is the stud. He's the guy that actually, if he turns out, you got your franchise quarterback. And, if you could figure out, if he could figure things out maybe late in the season, I'm not going to say he's a week 1 starter. I think people at this point think Kenny Pickett's going to probably be the starter. But if he figures things out and gives you some spark at the end of the year, and you still got 2 first-round picks next year, and you think that you might have a guy and you don't have to pick one of those, use one of those for quarterback, okay, now you're figuring something out. Now you're cooking with something. So it's going to be a very interesting year. But I do like Dylan Gabriel. I think if Dylan Gabriel was 6'2", 6'3", he'd probably be one of the top quarterbacks in this draft. And another thing, quarterbacks, we talked about all the quarterbacks in this draft. One of the things that a lot of these quarterbacks struggle with was playing on time. And in the NFL, that's what it is. You have to play on time. It ain't a lot of improvisation. You've seen Caleb Williams for the Bears try to do a lot of that improvising and scramble around, and it just wasn't successful. You have to be on time. Dylan Gabriel is probably one of the best quarterbacks in this draft that played on time, and he made a lot of plays.
Get you out of here on this one. Of the Buckeyes who found new landing spots, which fit did you like the best?
It has to be Emeka. I thought where Emeka was at, I was like, this is the best situation for him because he has always, at Ohio State, he's been a number 2. Not because of talent, just because you had Marvin Harrison, who's one of the top wide receivers in the country, and then you got JJ, who's probably the best receiver in the country. Mm-hmm. So he's already been in that role of being a productive number 2. Well, he goes to Tampa Bay, where Baker's coming off of a 40-touchdown season, throwing for a bunch of yards, and you're behind Mike Evans and Chris Godwin. So you're now number 3. So nobody's going to be paying attention to you because they're going to be trying to figure out these other 2 guys where he should thrive in one-on-ones because he's arguably the best route runner that came out as a wide receiver this year.
And the best thing for him, too, to just buttress your point, is Bake likes you to be where you're supposed to be when you're supposed to be there.
Yeah.
That's why him and Odell had issues.
Correct.
Mac ain't going to have a problem there.
Yeah. It should be a big season for Mac. I'm happy for him.
Yeah, very much is. All right, buddy. I'm hearing that you and I are going to be talking a lot, like almost daily. Me, you, and T-Bone are going to be talking a lot.
Yeah.
So we got that to look forward to.
Yeah, throwing it in the air. Yeah, a little crosstalk.
All right, I like it. Going to be fun. Thanks for your time, brother, as always, and we'll do it again soon.
See you later, Bo.
All right, there he goes. Tyvis Powell, the soon-to-be T-Bone and Tyvis program beginning on Monday, May 12th, 6 to 9, right here on The Fan. We hit 3 things on a Monday. Up next, Bishop and Friends, right here on The Fan.
We're the girthiest radio station in the history of radio. Uncomfortably girthy. This promo is uncomfortable. The Fan, Ohio's girth destination.
Steel, walk behind, zero turn, and stand-on mowers are built to get the job done. Shop online or at your local Steel dealer. Steel, let's go mow.
If you're like most Americans, you've racked up tens of thousands in credit card debt. You're stuck with 20% interest fees, and even the monthly payments, well, they're hard to make. It's insane. Hey, it's Bobby Carpenter. The good news is that there is a way out. AFLcash.com. That's AFLcash.com. Advantage First Lending. They specialize in fast, easy access to the equity in your home. Most homeowners have hundreds of thousands of dollars in their home equity. That's your money. AFLcash.com can get it out for you with zero junk fees and zero hassle. You can pay off all those credit cards in just a matter of days. Pay off your car loans too. Cut your monthly expenses by $800 or even $900. I'm telling you, the relief you need, well, it's right there at your fingertips. AFLcash.com or call 844-394-CASH. That's 844-394-CASH. Break out of the credit card debt prison with AFLcash.com.
Equal Housing Lender, NMLS 1209177. Subject to lender approval. NMLSConsumerAccess.org.
Lanny went to college and racked up huge debt.
A little bit over $100,000.
For a degree he couldn't use? Now what?
I had a friend that went to my computer career.
They even helped him get hired immediately after graduation.
One of the things I love about IT is that you can work from anywhere you want.
You could become an IT pro in just months, including cybersecurity and the basics of AI with zero experience at mycomputercareer.edu.
It worked for me, and I know it can work for you.
This is one student's experience. Individual results vary.
If you're 55 and up, T-Mobile has plans built just for you. 2 lines of unlimited for just $30 a line. That's a 45% savings compared to Verizon and AT&T. But don't just take our word for it.
It's not just the savings that are great with our T-Mobile plan. There's all this value from all these other things that T-Mobile offers.
T-Mobile has been such a savings for us.
We love it. Switch today and get 2 free 5G phones like the Motorola Edge with Turbo Power charging that gives you power for the day in just 15 minutes. And customers 55 and up can get 2 lines of talk, text, and data for only $30 a line. Go to T-Mobile.com/55 to learn more. With 24 monthly bill credits and 2 new lines with autopay for well-qualified customers plus taxes, fees, and $35 per line connection charge. Credits end and balance due if you pay off early or cancel. Contact us plus $5 per line without autopay. Debit or bank account required. 45% off 2 lines versus AT&T Starter and Verizon Welcome. Plan benefits vary. See details at T-Mobile.com. Motorola Edge requires 68-watt charger. Chargers sold separately. Actual performance will vary based on usage and configuration.
Hear that? That's the sound of saving a good deal more when you shop with M-Perks at Meijer. Some delicious blueberries, money saved. A creamy treat of cookie dough ice cream, that's money saved. Savings, savings, savings. Because every dollar spent is also 10 points earned in M-Perks, which you can use to save on your next grocery trip or up to $1 off per gallon on your next tank of gas. At Meijer, we work hard to help you save a good deal more for a whole lot less. That's bringing more good to life. Exclusions apply. See mperks.com for details.
Much like a vampire, we need to be invited into your house. But once we're in, we never leave. Listen to The Fan on your Alexa or Google Home smart speaker. Just say play 97.1 The Fan and prepare to be amazed. Do it now.
Beds are us. When dreams sunk in, beds are us.
Right now, get $1,500 off a shower or tub replacement or $3,000 off a full bathroom remodel, plus low to no monthly payments. Call 380-225-BATH to schedule your free estimate or go to bathsareus.com. 380-225-BATH.
Beds are us. When dreams sunk in, beds are us.
Legend has it, underneath the NJM insurance offices lies a mysterious room of long-forgotten, moldy mascot memorabilia. Often pitched by ad agencies, always rejected by NJM. Is it real? We may never know. But what is real is NJM's dedication to doing what's right for their customers. Astoundingly, they're proud to put policyholders first. No jingles or mascots, just great insurance. Learn more at njm.com.
Insurance underwritten by NJM Insurance Company and its subsidiaries.
All your favorite fan shows are available when you want them.
Head to 971thefan.com and hit that subscribe button.
The Fan, Ohio sports destination. Our top men are working on everything except this show.
We have top men working on it right now. Who? Top men.
You're listening to Bishop and Friends.
You guys seeing these? They had a press conference this morning in D.C. of the Commanders, and they're going back to the RFK site, $3.7 billion deal to take the Commanders franchise back into the Beltway. They've been outside in Landover for a while now, and it's not gone well. There's images of the new stadium that are kind of making their round. So it is as predicted. It is a dome. It's got glass on both ends and then a glass ceiling. So we'll give it that, what's the word I'm looking for? Like a nursery type feel to it, like in terms of with plants, a kind of greenhouse kind of feel to it. It's going to have to it, and then looking straight down out the one end zone is the nation's capital and the Washington Monument in the distance. So that's as big a home run as you're going to get if they can do that from a geographical standpoint. But also the other thing that I noticed about this is what stadiums are going to look like going forward. It is a combination of what the Rams did in SoFi and what the Vikings did in Minnesota. This is the new stadiums. This is what they're going to be. And if you don't have one of these, then you're going to be chasing a little bit. And I think of the AFC North teams, especially Pittsburgh, that's had the same feel for a long time. And obviously Cincinnati, who's got their own set of issues there. Trying to keep up in this world is going to be tricky.
Well, I looked at like Buffalo, and in 5 years, are the Bills not going to be thinking to themselves, what the hell did we do?
It's crazy they didn't put a dome on that for that price. It's crazy. And they built theirs kind of, they're going to build
like a canopy, though, doesn't it?
I don't know if it has it over the hole, but it has it over the fans. There's canopy over the fans, so that at least they're out of the elements a little bit. But the field of play is very much in. What do we have on the poll today, Reese?
Daily Fan Poll sponsored by Caster Connection, and it asks, who will be the starting quarterback for the Browns in their 2025 season opener? Joe Flacco, Dylan Gabriel, Kenny Pickett, Shedeur Sanders are your options. 81% think Flacco's going to be the starter week one. 10% say Kenny Pickett, 5% Shedeur Sanders, and 2% say Dylan Gabriel will start for the Browns.
My hunch is the intent is for it to be for it to be Pickett. That the intent is Pickett. Although, if he's not up to speed, they obviously know what they have in Flacco. But my hunch is that Pickett will be given a wide rein to see if he can kind of win that job. I'll tell you what's going to be interesting. They can't keep 4 on the roster.
Either Gabriel or Sanders getting cut, right?
Yeah, and then would have to clear. You're not going to cut a third-round pick. So it's going to be between Sanders and maybe Flacco even, for that third guy in the room. I don't know. I don't think you cut Flacco either based on all of it, but you can't have 4 of them.
Could they trade Pickett? If the 2 younger guys show enough in camp, could they get rid of Kenny?
Maybe.
In the situation, a quarterback goes down in camp and someone needs another arm. Yeah.
Yeah. Potentially could. So that's something to watch for there for sure. All right, time for 3 things on a Monday. Hit it, fellas.
1, 2, 3 things.
Sponsored by Buckeye Lake Marina, Central Ohio's largest selection of new and pre-owned boats. Find your next dream boat at BuckeyeLakeMarina.com.
All right, number 1 for me. One thing that probably the only thing that I've stolen from Deion Sanders is ranking my children. I think it's funny. They'll ask me, where do I rank? So we've got the 3 boys, then we have Buddy Garrity, and then we have the fish, Bolt. He's still alive. Coral didn't make it. Coral lasted about 18 months. Bolt's still thriving, like 2+ years in. I don't think fish are supposed to last this long, but somehow the guy has this long. He's usually dead last. I have no use for him. Buddy Garrity is the current number 1 in the power poll because this morning there were 6 geese on the property. I go downstairs. I said, you ready? You ready to go see, dude? You ready to go see? Oh, yeah, I'm ready, Dad. Let's go. So he and I walked out. He saw him on it with a sprint, barking, geese gone, never to return. Unlike the rabbit a couple of weeks ago, he didn't catch one, thankfully, because I did not want to deal with that. But other than that, I'm never more proud of him. Stopped before the electric fence, right on time. No zapping for him. Great morning for Buddy Garrity.
First thing for me, I had to give some bad news to Tyvis. This morning, a federal district court judge in New York dismissed a lawsuit by Mario Chalmers against the NCAA over his use of name, image, and likeness rights. So back in 2005, 05 to 08, Chalmers played for Kansas. And this was, the idea that the statute of limitations in the House versus NCAA settlement is athletes 2016 to current. Now, Tyvis Powell sits January 1. He was a student athlete at The Ohio State University, so he falls right outside of that statute of limitations. This is the first, and I think, a handful of decisions in the next month that will go against athletes pre-2016 in hopes to get some of that pie coming their way from the settlement.
I just missed it.
By that much.
First thing for me, guys, bad job out of me saying that Bill Belichick's girlfriend, Jordan Hudson, had went to Harvard. It had been a while since I read that story. She's actually a cosmetology school student, but the textbook she was reading was written by a Harvard professor, Warren Goldfarb. Is Deductive Logic was the textbook. I knew Harvard was in there somewhere. It just, she didn't go, cosmetology school, though, it's a very good school she went to, I heard. So
it's a great profession. It's an honorable profession. It's a big difference between that and Harvard, Bake.
I mean, it had been a while since I checked the story. Good job out of Cool Trav on the YouTube chat for
He's on it.
Correcting me.
Yeah. Number 2 for me, this is one of the more remarkable stories in sports. When why am I blanking? When Rob McElhaney and Blake Lively's husband dared it. What's his name?
Ryan Reynolds.
Ryan Reynolds. When they bought Wrexham, this was a 5th division English soccer league franchise. They have been promoted in 3 straight seasons and are now going to play next season in the English League Championship level. That means, folks, that they are one step away in promotion from playing in the Premier League. When you play in the Premier League, you go from being worth $5-10 million to $1 billion. One of the more remarkable things in sport over the last 5 years, what they have done. And to be that close, I mean, it would be like a club, like a guys club team in Dublin somehow advancing to play in MLS. It doesn't even make sense. That might not even do it. It's that big of a stretch. It's an incredible story.
That's why sports is the ultimate investment. Everyone's looking to get in where they can because, they'll cash out pretty nicely. Michael DeCourcy, friend of the program, had this tweet earlier this morning that still makes me laugh. Took about 15 minutes for some of Pittsburgh's louder voices to turn Mike Sullivan's departure from the Penguins into a referendum on Steelers keeping Mike Tomlin. Don't get how so many can say today Steelers are nowhere near the Super Bowl and be mad they only win 10 games in 2024. It's why this profession's the best. Somehow Mike Sullivan and Mike Tomlin are worthy of the same discussion.
From Mike DeCourcy, all kinds of Mikes in this story. My second thing, Bo, hopefully you'll like this. So earlier I talked about Scotty, Tito, and me going up and playing in the Sports Trivia Cup on Saturday and gave Tito a lot of praise for what he did there in that. Well, Tito, there was a guy there that Tito had lost a game in youth soccer to years ago. I don't know. So Tito had known this guy for a long time. Of
course.
Having him come up to Tito, though, twice and call him T-Bone made the whole night worth it. So
that's a good way right there. The collective number 3 from all of us. God, the NFL draft is fun. It was fun on Thursday. It was fun on Friday. It was fun on Saturday. That moment of when I'm at youth lacrosse this weekend. My phone starts blowing up with, are they really doing this? Yep, they are. I mean, that's about as much fun as you could have for just announcing people's names over 3 days. Rothman and I is going to break it all down coming up next. We are back tomorrow, Bishop and Friends, right here on The Fan.
I guess we'll talk then. If our commercials are down currently, we can just keep doing a show. That's what you want to do.
Yeah, I'm not sure what happened here. The remote computer, we lost our connection to our dad.
Well, that's
so
funny.
when I went to fire the spots, we've got nothing here.
Wow. We can't swear on the air. That'd be the biggest no-no.
Yeah, that would
Have
not
you
be
tried
good.
resetting the computer?
Well, it says it's trying to regain connection now.
Well, just hit the button or blow on the cartridge. Will that do anything? I wonder actually if we are on the air. Let me pull up the YouTube thing again. It's funny you're getting a kind of a peek behind the scenes. And while I think we are live, I never really see Ryan Baker panic or have ever seen Ryan Baker panicked.
I hit the button and
boy, your eyes went wide right there.
I kind of thought maybe that was going to happen, though, because we lost our whole connection.
Yeah, the whole thing went down. I thought I'd see more people running. I see few people running right now.
Oh, hold on.
They're Cole and Matty Ice back there. Tyvis is up next. AR's out, so we can kind of do the other thing there. But, boy, that was fascinating.
Hopefully somebody is here. One of our engineers is hearing this, and they're
no, dude. Let's just do the show. We'll welcome in Matty Ice. Do we have an update we could give? Like, is there a read on this thing? This is an incredible scene, everybody. And yeah, according to the YouTube chat, we're still on the air.
Well, that's good.
I guess the dad system decided to crap out, welcoming in Tyvis Powell and Matty Ice Hayes. And fortunately for me, I have my Saturday Spectacular co-host eating an apple. By the way, don't swear. We are actually on the air right now. Like, I am kidding you not.
Hello, everybody.
Hi. Welcome.
This is pretty amazing. I've never seen this happen.
This is like for the first time ever.
Is Matty not jumping in?
Well, Matty, we could bring him in. But yeah, the YouTube's saying, yep, you're on the air.
Are we?
Yeah.
Look at that. Hello, everybody that's out there driving their vehicles. You know, it's wonderful to be able to share this Monday with you as you drive to your destination and as you tune in on YouTube. And, you know, I got my computer. I got my login.
Dennis says we're on the air in Portland.
We in Portland?
So I brought you to your knees earlier with the idea that the NCAA is going to avoid having to pay Mario Chalmers in the House versus NCAA settlement. So he was a Kansas point guard. I checked 05 to 08. And he wanted in on that $2.6 billion settlement. Well, the statute of limitations is 2016. When was the last day you were an Ohio State student athlete?
January 1st, 2016.
Oh,
No, but they came out and specifically said the season of 2016. I said, y'all are sick. They don't want to cut me a check of $100,000.
That's unfortunate. How's your weekend, bud?
You know, the weekend was good. Yesterday,
I'm going to plug my things and let Matty come in
yesterday,
here and run his show.
You know, yesterday was such a beautiful day. I took my kids to the park, you know, and they had the time of their lives. My youngest daughter, was going down the big girl slides. My oldest daughter, it's amazing what a year could do for kids. You know, last year, my oldest daughter was scared of everything. She wouldn't do anything at the park. Yesterday, it wasn't nothing she wouldn't do at the park. So this was a wonderful time. You know, it's nice that the springtime come. The weather's getting warm. Pool season is coming up, so you know I'm on a diet. If anybody want to get on a diet with me, you know, we gotta make our bodies look good when we go to these pools. I don't want to be one of those guys that swim with a T-shirt on. So yes, I'm back in the gym. I'm doing 200 abs a day. And, yeah, the food is the hardest part.
It's the hardest part, man. That's the most important part. I guess we can say now, welcome in to Rothman and Ice. I'm Matty Ice. What you've been hearing is the people's champ and the former Buckeye and national champ, the one and only Tyvis Powell. I hope everybody had a great weekend in-house right now. We got some technical difficulties going on, but that doesn't matter because we're on the air. And, T, at the end of the day, that's all that matters.
Oh, yeah. We got to listen. We're going to give the people what they want. I told Ryan Baker that since I'm doing 6 to 9 starting May 12th, this is my last hoorah of filling in for other shows.
Yeah, I'm gonna miss you. I know E's gonna miss you. You guys will work together on the week. Is that still happening?
No.
Before I say that, you're done.
This is it.
Okay.
This upcoming Saturday is the last one, and it just so happens to be my daughter's birthday. So yes, we got to make it a great one.
That will be a great one. Look, I'm so happy for you. I remember when you and I first started working together on the weekends, doing the pregame shows for Ohio State. You started filling in, doing great work. And even outside of what you do at the Fan, Big Ten Network, the work you do up there in Cleveland, man, it's been awesome for me to see you ascend the way that you have. So I'm super proud of you. I know the show with you and T-Bone is going to be amazing. I know you guys are going to cook every morning, and just everybody involved here at the Fan that's, working through these changes. I think we're all going to come out on the other side, and the station is going to still be putting out some good stuff over the air. So, for me to you, man, I'm happy for you. I'm proud of you, and I know you're just going to kill it in the mornings. But I will miss seeing you.
Yeah.
Because we probably won't cross paths at all just because of the time shift, and you won't be filling in anymore either. So we'll be in touch as we always are. But, yeah, I just wanted to say that off the top that I'm happy for you.
Listen, I might have to just randomly pop on shows. I put out the idea to Tim that one day What if I did a whole 24 hours of just staying on 97.1? So I get up at 6, do the show with T-Bone, and then I don't leave. I just fill in on the Bishop and Friends show. Then I go to Rothman and Nice. I just third wheel every chair.
Just every single show.
Just sit here for what is that, 12 hours?
Right around there.
14 hours.
Right
14
around
hours. And I don't move.
You're just going to DoorDash food all day.
Yep.
Just order after order after order.
And the commercial breaks eat. But I'm on a diet anyway, it might be great for me.
Listen, I told you before the show, fish and vegetables. That's how you cut down real quick. I know you got the working out part down.
I blame the kids.
Well,
you know what? For those that's out there that got kids, y'all know how it is. These kids, you got the fruit snacks, right? So they come to you and they say, "Daddy, can you open this?"
You're like,
and you're like, "Man,
smell good."
You're like, you know what? Let me get a couple of these before I give it to you.
Yeah.
And yeah, that's what happens.
I don't blame you, man. I don't blame you at all. Here's our lineup for today, folks. And again, welcome in to Rothman and Ice, the former Buckeye national champ. Tyvis Powell in the building today. 12:30, bottom of the hour. We'll talk to John Ledyard. He covers the NFL and NFL draft for Pro Football Focus. He will fill in. 1:30, we'll go down to the jungle, get a feeling what the Bengals did via their draft with Jay Morrison, be who covers them for Sports Illustrated over at BengalsTalk.com. And then at 2:30, Ray Fittipaldo, who covers the Steelers for the Pittsburgh Post-Gazette, will join us to talk about the Steelers, their draft, getting Jack Sawyer and Will Howard. So we'll have the AFC North covered from start to finish today. It does sound like we may be able to do a show open. So, fellas, if you're ready on your side of the glass, go ahead and do your thing, and then we'll take it from there.
We're your radio home for the Buckeyes, Browns, and all the NFL games you can handle. We may have a bit of a football problem. Oh, yeah? The Van Ohio sports destination. Broadcasting from the Lindsay Honda Studios.
Honda makes the cars. Lindsay makes the difference. Visit lindsayhonda.com.
WBNS-FM, HD1
This
Columbus.
is Jack for Tri-State Men's Health, where we've successfully treated thousands of men for low testosterone and helped them feel like their old selves again. Please take a moment and listen to how we help Billy.
Hi, I'm Billy Hatcher, a former professional baseball player, and I'm a patient at Tri-State Men's Health. Before I started the treatment, it was like my body was sore all the time, and I was feeling very, very sluggish. One day, I would be full of energy, and the next day it was like, where did all my energy go? And since I've started, my body hasn't felt this good in a long time. I feel like, I'm not 21 to 25 again. It's just been great. I feel very, very comfortable coming here. When you have the energy, it's amazing. You get to do so many other things that you couldn't do prior to that. If you're tired of hurting in the mornings, you want to improve your health, you want to feel better, give a call to Tri-State Men's Health. I promise you, you will feel better.
Thanks, Billy. It's true. Call 800-900-9654 or go to tristatemenshealth.com.
Hey, it's Anthony. You know what the slogan is at the Good Feet store? Good feet, good life. Friends have asked me, how are my personally fit arch supports different from the inserts and insoles they can buy online or in department stores? There are big differences. My Good Feet arch supports are designed to provide me firm yet flexible function. What does that do? They actually help correct poor foot biomechanics, which leads to providing me long-term pain relief. I was also the guy who thought, well, if I buy good shoes, my feet won't hurt. It wasn't a bad thought. A lot of people think shoes are always the problem, when in reality, it's often the foot that goes into the shoe that's the real source of discomfort. When I got my personally fit Good Feet arch supports, my feet felt stabilized. The pain and discomfort went away. For more than 30 years, the Good Feet store has helped thousands of people just like me discover the comfort they've been dreaming of. They're on Stringtown Road in Grove City or Polaris Parkway. Learn more at goodfeet.com.
Care Heating and Cooling. When you need a company you can trust, call 1-800-COOLING.
Hey folks, it's Austin Ward here with a challenge. Well, a challenge might not be the best choice of words, so let's say an opportunity. Take the opportunity to lose 40 by the 4th with Awaken 180. Has a different ring to it when you have a finish line, doesn't it? 40 by the 4th. Maybe you looked at the scale this morning and it read 230 pounds. How about it reading 190 by the 4th of July? Maybe the scale says 300. Wouldn't the 260 number be a little nicer on your eyes and on your knees? It's attainable if you have the same results we all had with Awaken 180. I dropped 40 pounds in just 8 weeks. There's no reason you can't drop 40 by the 4th and be feeling as great as I still do now. Ring Independence Day in healthy, confident, and most important, feeling happy. You reached your goal with the help of Awaken 180. So fire up your grill and grab your beverage of choice because the wait's staying off thanks to free support for life. 40 by the 4th. Set your goal and reach it. Reserve your consultation online at awaken180weightloss.com.
Now at White Castle, you can get 12 chicken rings for just $3.99. Tender on the inside, crispy on the outside. Choose from classic or our new Cheddar Blast flavor made with real cheddar cheese. White Castle. Follow your crave. Limited time only at participating castles. Tax not included.
We can come the day you call us.
We're 1-800-GOT-JUNK.
We make junk disappear. All you have to do is point.
Brian, I've been meaning to ask you something.
Okay, ask away.
Sometimes when we're talking, I hear a little sparkling sound.
Is it when one of us says, all you have to do is point?
There it is. Did you hear that?
That's the sound of magic happening.
Magic? Like we can come the day you call us? Wow.
Call 1-800-GOT-JUNK or visit 1-800-GOT-JUNK.com.
The sports calendar is heating up, and with ESPN Bet Sportsbook, you can go from checking news to stats to placing bets in a couple of taps. Stream games, bet live, and get exclusive offers when you link your ESPN account. Right now, you can get $100 in bonus bets when you make your first $10 wager. Download the ESPN Bet app and sign up with promo code USL to get started today. Must be 21 or older. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Terms and conditions apply. See app for details. Offer not available in New York.
Quarterback Jordan Love isn't just on Green Bay's team. He's also on the American Family Insurance team. Because like us, he believes in dreaming fearlessly.
Just chase your dreams and don't let nobody hold you back.
And we help protect those dreams with the right coverage so you can
dream fearlessly.
American Family Insurance. Get a quote and find an agent at amfam.com.
Products not available in every state. American Family Mutual Insurance Company, SI, and its operating company, 6000 American Parkway, Madison, Wisconsin.